goes in motion to the far side. Jamari back to throw, takes 2 steps, pumps and fires down the middle. Incomplete, intended for Terrell Hayward, a little bit in front of him, maybe leading him slightly off to that far sideline. Maybe a little bit, not jittery, but maybe not settled in yet.
Jittery, yeah. Hayward was definitely in that jittery conversation, too. That's definitely a catch he should have made.
So 2 balls off the hands. The previous pass would have been a spectacular catch from Terrell. The last one was maybe more catchable, going on an out pattern. But Jamari so poised at quarterback, and there was a story in the Arizona Daily Star last week that was talking about his progression as a signal caller, as a field general, and as a quarterback. And Jamari's back there now to punt. So athletic and gifted. High punt here, not a lot of distance. It'll bounce at the 37 and take a wayward bounce going back towards Cienega's end. And Eli Galvan touches it there desperately. And let's see, net punt, it'll be, about a 19-yard punt. So Tucson High will have excellent field position at their own 44-yard line. 1st and 10.
And that last drive, it could very much be the story for the Cats here tonight. If you guys ever remember that movie from 2004, The Incredibles, of course you guys do.
I do.
The old spider robot, and the way they got it to kill itself was they just got it to repeatedly inject itself and make incisions into its own body, and that's definitely the way you take down a giant super mechanical mad scientist robot like the Cats.
Yeah, it was Syndra's robot.
Yeah.
Handoff goes to the right side here, and a trio or a quartet now of Bobcat tacklers are there, and Rodney Rogers was there to finally make the play. The handoff went to the right side to Daniel Salomon. So Salomon, a senior, number 12, nothing doing. It's a loss of 5 on the play. We heard from Jillian pregame that Tucson High loves to run the football. They'll do it about 70% of the time.
And definitely. If you guys when we're looking at the receiver sets and the way they're set up, they have so much distance in between them, in between the tackles, and in between the other receivers. And all that does is set up interior run lanes and interior screen lanes like this one here.
Handoff goes to the right side. That's a positive gain here. It'll be about a 10 or 11-yard pickup for the Badgers.
The ball got put on the ground. They're looking like
the ball loose on the fumble. There's a scrum on the field. And the Badgers, they've got some size there, some mass on that offensive front. Look at those linemen, 75, 76, 77. Badgers do recover the fumble. I hear Tucson High's public address announcer. I recognize that voice from THS, and why not? This is technically it's a home game for the Badgers, so they're trying to do everything that they have, all the privileges that they would enjoy at Tucson High School. Play action here, quarterback rolls to the left, under pressure is Jesus Montano, and he is brought down there. Maybe he got rid of the football, but they will not pick up a first down. So Dylan Hughes was there applying pressure. And on 4th down and 3, the Badgers will likely try to punt the football. Montano, his numbers aren't great at the quarterback position. He's got a quarterback rating of 47.1. Only 41 pass attempts on the year. He's 20 for 41 for 172 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So not the most prolific passer. They had a great quarterback last year that carved up the Bobcat defense. And the Bobcat defense is sterling, particularly when you look at the back end of it. The safeties and the cornerback, their play is as high of a level as you could hope for at that skill position on defense. Now punting the football here, it's another high punt. It was similar to Jamari's. Not very far, bounced at the 40-yard line, rolls down to the 30, where it is downed, and this will be a 19-yard punt. So another 19-yard punt here from Tucson High. So special teams not exemplary to this point tonight, although Cienega has a great kicker in Ezra Figueroa.
And Cienega's right back where they started. No harm, no foul. Tucson High's right back where they started with the first drive. This is definitely going to be interesting to see how Nugent calls these next few plays.
I have to say, I love those Badger uniforms.
Yeah, they're definitely those sleeveless Adidas uniforms. Those are super trendy, all the way to the NCAA, definitely.
And they have the white numbers, the decals on their helmets as well to stand out. Jamari throws over to Terrell Huggins. Huggins a move now, and he breaks a tackle and gains up 13 on the play and a first down. So the Chains move forward, 13 on the play. Cats 1st and 10 at the 43.
And the Cats are such a finesse team. They have so much speed. They have so much quick feet, quick movement down at the bottom of their bodies that Coach Nugent knows exactly the player personality he has, so he's going to give his playmakers a lot of open space like that. He's going to send Terrell Huggins on a 10-yard out, one-on-one on the backside, and he's going to let him do his thing, no more, no less.
Wide open formation here. Jamari pumps, throws, lofts it up, intercepted. And he forced that football. He was intending to throw it to Terrell Huggins, and it was picked by number 6, Aaron Barton, the senior defensive back. So he gives the Badgers a boost here. Jamari, just an ill-advised throw.
Ill-advised, definitely. The wide receiver could have done more. The quarterback could have done more. That's just plain bad football in general. And like I said before, like when we're talking about syndromes, arachnid robot, whatever the layman's term for that robot was, the robot died because it simply killed itself. That's how the Bobcats are going to go up. That's how they're going to go down. They're built off of each other, and whether it's good or bad depends on them.
And there's a handoff and nothing doing. Nate Amico on the tackle, and a tackle for loss. It was Tucson High's best running back, Kayshawn Valencia Crump, number 21. And Crump has good yards on the season. He's averaging 8 yards a carry on 29 carries. He has 8 touchdown, 1 100-yard game. So wide open formation here. We've got 3 wideouts near side, 2 far side, and Crump is in the backfield there, flanking his quarterback, Jesus Montano. Montano in the pistol, takes 2 steps, throws to his right. Ball is caught. Nice tackle there out in space by Rodney Rogers, a good tackling cornerback. And the ball was caught by David Mariscal, the junior wide receiver. So a gain of 7, and that will set up 3rd down and 8.
And like I said before, a lot of their route combinations of the Badgers route combinations, their pass protection, a lot of that stuff, they play it off the breaks. When you watch Montano here, let's analyze him for a sec. He's going to get the snap. He's going to take a 3-step drop right off the break there. As soon as the receiver puts his feet in the ground, as soon as he changes directions, that's when the ball's coming out of the quarterback's hands. The Bobcats and their defensive backs are really going to get tested here. They have to analyze how well the perfect ratio of looking at the quarterback and looking at the receiver. It's a very yin and yang type way to call your defensive backs, but they have to make sure that they're always staying hip pocket, make sure that they call it hip pocket as in if I'm covering my colleague Jason here, I can stick my hand in his pocket. That's how close they got to be to those receivers to make plays and they got to remember not to play the ball so much, but to play the receiver.
Montano's pass was intended for David Mariscal, and right there in defense was Stephen Harshman, the maybe Ivy League linebacker. The Ivy League schools are all over him as a prospect. Great academically and physically at the defensive linebacker position. Very impressive. Terrell Huggins on the punt return here across the 40, and he scampers out of bounds at the 43-yard line. The pressure was applied there by Gary Love, number 14, a sophomore special teamer for the Badgers. So 1st and 10 here for the Cats at the 41-yard line.
And the Cats so far, so meh. That's what we'll call it. So far, so meh. They've had a few good plays that worked their end. They've had a few bad plays that haven't worked so good, including the turnover, including a lot of the drop passes. Jamari's got to remember to just sit back on his haunches, stay a little bit off of his feet, and he's got to remember at the end of the day, they're the favorite team. They're the favorite. They're the Cats over the Badgers, so they have to remember that they got put here for a reason. They got to let Coach Nugent do his job calling the plays, and they got to let their players rely off of Coach Nugent to let them do their thing.
Well, we have an encroachment or offsides here against the defense. A 5-yard penalty going against Tucson High, so it's 1st and 5 here. I think Jamari is as cool as could be. Very poised and very mature at that quarterback position, like truly blossoming. Here he keeps the ball, carves his way up the middle, lowers the shoulder, runs over defensive back, and picks up 10 on that carry, and the Chains move forward for a 1st down.
And that's exactly where the Cats are going to excel today. If you watch Coach Nugent, if you watch this from all the way from CDO to Pima to all the way here with the Cats, the way he calls these plays, he'll spread them out 2 by 2. Here we go. Both of the flankers offset, misdirection, back inside. It's a very trendy thing to do here down at the high school level. And Coach Nugent, and when you get the offensive line like the Bobcats, they'll run it better than no other team here in the state.
Jamari at 6'2", 198 on the quarterback keeper, and he picks up 5 on the play. So he just ran over a linebacker, and he's got that kind of that physicality and the size to be able to do that. Cats are tricky. They've got a lot of speedy receivers that are going in motion, and Damari has a plethora of weapons. He throws to the right side there, passes low. That was intended for, is that number 5 for the Cats? And that is Kevon Waples. Kevon's a junior wide receiver. I see 5, I think Braden Bolt in the matrix, but I've got to move forward now. So Kevon Waples is filling that jersey number 5 very admirably. And we've got some substitutions here with personnel. And the Cats looking to go a little bit heavy. So we have Stephen Harshman coming in at tight end. We have Eli Galvan, number 42. And Eli's a big package at 5'10", 221. So we've got some meat coming in here, maybe for run blocking. 3rd down and 5. Handoff goes to Thomas Webb Jr., lowers his shoulder. He plows forward very close to that 1st down marker. You saw 2 tacklers there. One went high and just jumped onto his back to try to slow him down. So he is short by 2. It'll be 4th down and 2. Cats may go for it here with the ball at the 37-yard line.
And when you look at an offense like the Bobcats, and when you look at a play caller like Mr. Nugent, he uses the run to set up the pass. He doesn't set up the run with the pass. He's going to run it up the gut until he forces the defense to go into man coverage, and that's where these receivers can really show off what they got going for them is a one-on-one man coverage.
Damari back to throw, fires right side, pass complete, Terrell Hayward. Hayward spins, and slinky move here, out to the 20 to 15. Goes all the way to the corner, great block there. Downfield by Trey White, and a touchdown for Terrell Hayward. 33 yards for Tay Hay, and a great block downfield by Jerry White.
And that's exactly just like I was talking before a few seconds ago. He's going to force the defense to go into man coverage, and he's going to let these receivers do their thing. He knows that he's got these speedy finesse wide receivers that play off the breaks. They do great with a 1-yard release. So he's going to let them give them some open space. He's going to let them do their thing just like that.
Terrell Hayward, it was a catch and run from him. And now we've got an extra point attempt here. And it's P.J. Coco on the extra point attempt. And that kick is up and good. So curiouser and curiouser, wondering why P.J. Coco is out there on the extra point. And usually it's Ezra Figueroa. And maybe they switched jerseys, so we'll try to get clarification on that. Ezra Figueroa, 18, is the kicker. But maybe he doesn't have his jersey tonight, so we will try to get clarification on that and get that resolved as quickly as we can. Cats up 7-0, and there are 5 minutes and 9 seconds on the clock here in the first quarter.
And Tucson High Badgers, they gotta be wary of time of possession here. The Cats are gonna score when they get the football. They haven't in the first 2 drives, but now that they got their rhythm going, they're gonna score anytime they get their hands on the football. So the Badgers gotta be wary of how long their offense can hold onto the ball and how long they can keep the Cats offense off the field.
We got a kickoff here going from right to left. Badgers going left to right, awaiting a kickoff here from, I believe, P.J. Coco. So at the 20-yard line, it's bobbled ever so slightly. Now a broken tackle here. Number 12 runs across the 40 to 45, one man to beat, and it's Coco on the tackle at the 50-yard line. So Daniel Salomon on the kickoff return, and it was a nice one to put the Badgers in Cienega Bobcat territory at the Cat 47-yard line.
And just like I said before, the Badgers must be wary of their time of possession. Spread out those wide receivers. Give them some space. Get Tucson High's running game. Get their running back. Give them some interior run lanes in between the tackles, some inside-out zones, and let him do his thing upfield, downfield, not so much left to right with these little out patterns, these little screens. Hand it to the running back. Let him set the tone for this football game.
1st and 10 here. And it's a handoff to the near side, and no gain on the carry by Kayshawn Valencia Crump. Tackle on the play by Diego Rivas, number 1. One of those corners that will sub in here frequently. The Cats' defensive front, they have Anthony Williams, 45, the junior. Number 74 is the freshman, Hunter Schlegel, the younger brother of the great defensive lineman Ty Schlegel. And then Carter Clark, 55, at end. And then you have Dylan Hoos, the safety, who plays as kind of like a hybrid linebacker. Nate Amico in the middle, Stephen Harshman, Rogers and Hayward at corner. And now it's a quarterback keeper here from Montano. And he picks up 8, maybe 9, and he's very close to the first down marker. It'll set up 3rd down and about a yard.
And that's how the defensive coordinator for the Bobcats, Mr. Darling, that's how he calls that 3-3-5 defense. He goes gap by gap. Every defensive lineman, every defensive back, and all the linebackers, they have a gap to account for. When he calls those blitzes, it's leaving one gap unaccounted for. These blitzes aren't run blitzes, they're not pass blitzes. All they're doing is filling a gap with more than one kid. And just like you saw right there, one gap is unaccounted for. The quarterback did a nice job of noticing that gap.
And they actually gave them a first down. So 1st and 10 here, Badgers. Quarterback keeper Montano. Room to go up the middle. And Dylan Hoos has to make a tackle in the open field, but 10 yards on the carry by Jesus Montano. There's some size. I referenced that earlier here from Tucson High. So if we're looking at 75, 76, 77, Julian Villanueva at 6'5", 300 pounds, number 75. Number 76, Manny Lopez, 5'10", 346. And Nick Hernandez, 6'3", 250. That's a lot of meat on that offensive front there for the Badgers, and they're running behind it right now. Keisha on the run, and he is brought down there. It's Diego Ruby, number 2. So the Cats have 2 Diegos. Diego Rivas, number 1, he plays cornerback, and Diego Ruby, number 2, also plays corner. So Rivas kind of like corner / linebacker, and no gain there from Keishon Valencia Crump. So it's now 2nd and 12.
And Crump, he's got to put his foot in the ground. He's got to look upfield. He's too busy. Exactly.
Go up. Go south.
Too busy trying to be Patrick Swayze here with the dancing. He's looking like Mr. Footloose out here. He's got to get his foot upfield and get some ground.
It's a Patrick Swayze Dirty Dancing, Kevin Bacon Footloose.
There we go.
And a flare pass goes to the right side, and it's complete to number 16, Wyatt Campos. And it's from Jesus Montano, the junior quarterback. Speaking of Wyatt Nunez, I saw today at Dunkin' Donuts. He says hello to you, Arthur.
All right.
So I
saw him a few days ago.
I spied him in the drive-through window. I got a peach iced tea. Dunkin' Donuts fans, that peach tea is going to be discontinued. So my heart's broken slightly. And if you like peach tea, yours might be too. That's the only thing I get from Dunkin' Donuts. That and the blueberry cake donut from time to time. 3rd down and 5 here for the Badgers. Montano drops back to throw, looks to his right, pumps, double pumps, lost it to the end zone, overthrown. Thomas Webb Jr. back there in coverage, drifting back. Wyatt Campos was the intended target. It's 4th and 5, so this might be out of field goal range. We're looking at a very long field goal attempt here. Not many high school kickers
out though.
Not many high school kickers have that ability to do that kind of kicking, but we do have a kicker out here. So good spying there, Arthur. Mark Vargas, number 19, the sophomore. I'm sure he plays soccer for Tucson High, I would imagine, right? Most of the kickers,
90% of them, yeah.
90% of them play soccer as well. So we're set up here at the 28-yard line. We'll add 10 yards for the end zone, so it's a 38-yard attempt here from Mark Vargas, number 19. Snap is down. The hold is good. The kick is up.
Got the distance.
Oh, it's good.
And it's good.
Wow, 38 yards from Mark Vargas. So giving the Badgers here a boost, and the Badgers came to play tonight, folks.
Yeah, definitely. And Cienega's got a bit of a stubborn defensive caller, Mr. Darling. He's as stubborn as a rock. He's as hard as a rock as you'll ever be. When the Badgers spread out their receivers in these 3-by-1 formations, he still goes 2 over top, 6 people in the box, 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers. And what that does is it sets up plays that the Badgers feel eager to call, like those one-on-one fade routes to the end zone. Quarterback was staring it down the whole time. Should have looked for a little more progression, but it leaves open a lot of the flat routes. It leaves a lot of the interior routes open, but he's real stubborn because he wants to set the tone with those blitzing linebackers.
And don't you think that the cornerbacks from Cienega have the capability and the ability, the talent to be able to match a kid man to man?
Of course.
You could put all 4 of those cornerbacks and safeties from Cienega and say, look, you're going man to man, and maybe we'll go zone with the line. I have no idea.
Definitely. But I would always say it in the game of football, it only takes one. It only takes one time for that route to work, and it's there.
And can they try to stuff the box a little bit by bringing players in to creep in and defend against the run?
Definitely.
2:20 on the clock. The Bobcats up on top, 7-3. Here's Rodney Rogers, Mr. Speed at the 5. Flashy moves, cutting his way. Now coming back near side and is brought down at the 30-yard line. Well, Rodney's as likable of a kid that you could ever hope to meet. Always a smile on his face, always positive, just as easy as a Sunday morning, to quote the Commodores. So Rodney across the 30-yard line, the Cats 1st and 10. And I like the logo here, Arthur. We've got we've got sod here, gifted to Rincon University High from the Arizona Cardinals. So this playing surface was on the playing field at University of Phoenix Stadium, and I'd imagine that they rolled all the sod up in pieces and trucked it down from Phoenix down here to Tucson. A gift from the Cardinals. I'm more of a Cardinals fan just because of that gift. What a great gesture from them, and a beautiful playing surface here as Gio Owens gets his first carry, goes right side for 9 yards. And then Rincon University has a bit of a play on the University of Miami, the U down in Miami, Florida, a powerhouse, I would say a blue blood college football program. Definitely. And they're emulating that in their logo, which is very nice. I want to thank Rincon University High and their athletic director, Dave Lepeau, for all of their hospitality, as well as Bobby DeBerry, the athletic director from Tucson High. And then I want to send my thoughts out to Whitney Holland, Cienega's athletic director, and wishing him the best for his mother in her recovery. So I know that had a bit of a scare here earlier today, and she was whisked off to the hospital. The last report that I got was that they were running a series of tests on her. So Whitney, your mother and you are in our thoughts and our prayers, and we hope for your mother to have a speedy recovery.
Definitely.
All the shout-outs to all the athletic directors here, just covering all the bases. Cats have a 1st and 10 here from their own 41-yard line.
They came out at a bit of a bulky set, both first and second play. They came out with 2 tight ends, real tight on the line of scrimmage. And now here they come in a 3-by-1 set, that one receiver being the lone tight end.
Jamari, one-handed on the snap, throws to the right. There's Terrell Hayward. Puts on the brakes and is wrestled out of bounds there, but a gain of 10 and a first down. Tackle on the play is by number 35, and that's Cesar Sanchez, the sophomore cornerback from the Badgers. So 1st and 10. Hayward, we've seen him earlier tonight with a touchdown. A 33-yard catch and run by the explosive junior, who made his impression last year as a sophomore on both sides of the football. Now he's starring in 3 facets of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. Handoff goes to the right side. Nice run there. Lowering the shoulders is Devin Garrett. So Devin, the senior, 5'8", 170. He bulls his way forward for 10 and a first down.
And the Cats have they're running wide trap, they're running that counter play that they have set up, and they're running outside route combinations. Somebody goes underneath inside, and then somebody breaks off to the outside. And if you're Tucson High, you think, oh, well, you might as well go zone. Why doesn't he go zone and just cover the flat routes, cover the buzz in between the hashes and the sidelines? But against a team like the Bobcats, you have to stack with Gio Owens, Devin Garrett, with all those playmakers under center with the quarterback. You have to stack the box.
Oh my! Jamari Joyner, touchdown to Rodney Rogers.
He's calling it incomplete.
Wow! 37 yards. Jamari rolled to his right and flicked the football effortlessly. And that ball traveled 37 yards with a tight spiral on a rope. And Rodney Rogers made a beautiful diving catch. And I'm guessing they're saying that he had a foot out of bounds. And we're all the way opposite here. So if you're looking at a screen, which we don't have it on televised, but you'll see it later when we play the replay on Monday, it's the opposite corner to the upper left. And Rodney just ran like a deep fade route. And Jamari just flicked the football like so effortlessly. What a great decision. The athleticism, we know it's there, but I think his progression and his development as a quarterback is the most impressive thing about Jamari now.
And I think the most impressive part about his progression, the progression that we were just talking about, is he uses his speed, he uses his legs to buy time in the pocket. Instead of taking off in the pocket, Denard Robinson, Michael Vick, all those heavy trigger-happy quarterbacks, he's Russell Wilson, he's Vince Young. He buys time in the pocket with his speed instead of taking off.
High snap, handoff goes to Terrell Hayward on the wide receiver run here. Wow, we have a Tucson High Badger. Now the whistle's been blown here. There's a Badger that came up with the football, and that's David Lopez. So he appeared to have stripped the ball from Terrell Hayward, but the whistles were blown, and they had blown the play dead. So no turnover on that, but it's curious because you had Lopez who had the ball and was streaking with nobody around him. He would have had a touchdown going the other way.
Had room to twirl a cane.
And it brings us to the end of the first quarter. So we are going to go down to the field to Jillian Summers with a report down on the field. Actually, it's Bella Cousins. Take it away, Bella.
Hi, Bobcat TV. Welcome back to the Tucson High versus Cienega game. And to start off the night, Cienega has figured out the tactic of Tucson High's tactic, where they have tried to push the running line back. But Nathan Amico had quickly figured that out and pushed them back. Jamari handed the ball to Terrell Hayward for a touchdown, which was the first one of the night. And Tucson High is attempting to throw short throws, but they cannot throw as long as throws as the amazing Jamari Joyner. We will get back to you guys during halftime. Thank you very much.
All right, Bella Cousins, super sophomore. She's got potential for sure as a field reporter. And it's great to see these kids developing. So we heard from Jacob Greenberg, the other talented sophomore in a roster, a Bobcat TV veteran, Jillian Summers, a senior, and then Bella Cousins there, the sophomore. We'll hear from Chloe Olson as well, another sophomore. So the Bobcat TV field reporters in full force here tonight, and another good report there down on the field.
And right here, right when we start the second quarter, it's a 7-3 ball game. It's a one-possession ball game. Cats have been a little sluggish here to start, but they got their rhythm going. These Badgers definitely got to take control of the running game. Like I said, they use the run to set up the pass, so they got to set the tone and take away the run game. Force Jamari Joyner to be that quarterback that everybody says and thinks he is, and he's put on display. They got to force him to be a quarterback here.
Jamari takes two. Fires down the middle, intercepted. Wow, that was just a misread there, or a miscommunication, and the ball was picked by Aaron Barton. Barton across to the 40-yard line. So very uncharacteristic here. We have Jamari Joyner, the great quarterback, with not one, but two interceptions, and that one was thrown directly at Aaron Barton. And I know that the fans watching this, when they're watching the replay, will say, oh, he threw it right at him. But there has to have been a miscommunication in terms of route running.
Might have been, but just like I said a few moments ago, these Badgers, they're going to force Jamari Joyner to get an actual quarterback progression read. They're going to get him, force him to make an actual advanced throw that these quarterbacks have to make. But what they're going to do, the way they're going to do that is take away the run game. They did a nice job of stacking the box, force the Cats to go up in the air, force Jamari to make a misread, and there he goes again, throwing another turnover.
Well, 1st and 10 Badgers now. We've got a player going in motion to the far side. And now the handoff goes up the middle. And it's number 14 on the carry. That's Gary Love, the sophomore. So he picks up 6 on that carry.
Tucson will have it 2nd and 4.
Yeah, the quarterback is lassoed there. Actually, it was the running back number 12, Daniel Salomon. And he lost a couple of yards here, so it'll set up a 3rd down and 9.
The Badgers got a great opportunity to take away that Cats momentum, the Bobcat momentum. Like I said before, they're going to do a nice job of taking the time of possession away from the Cats offense, giving those big playmakers on the offensive side of the ball not too many opportunities to make something happen. So a lot of these first 2 plays, they did a nice job keeping it on the ground, but they're going to get tested here on the 3rd and long. And they run a quarterback draw right up the middle, get a decent gain.
Harshman on the tackle. It'll be 4th down and 5. 10:32 on the clock here in the second quarter. Cienega's up 7-3.
A pretty timid play calling, in my opinion, there. On a 3rd and long, they just go with the quarterback draw. Must be a little too frightened to let the ball fly up in the air, but more or less they got a decent 5-yard gain. And here we go on 4th and 5. Pretty timid by the Badgers.
2 Terrells. Terrell Hayward, the junior. Terrell Huggins, number 20, the senior, set to return the punt here. Low snap. And a high punt by Kayshawn Valencia Crump. Fair catch by Terrell Hayward at the 35-yard line. That's impressive, too. You've got players bearing down on you, and you've got to make that catch. And we've seen Hayward make that several times this season. So very talented is number 7, the junior, and very intelligent, too, in the classroom. Straight A student.
Definitely. And when you're Pat Nugent, when you're the offensive coordinator here for the Cats, you're not going to take away the ball from Jamari Joyner. He has 2 turnovers in the air, but you're not going to take the ball out of his hands. He's the most exciting, he's the most thrill-seeking player on this offense. You got to give him the ball. You got to get him some space, but what you're going to do is just limit the room for error. You're going to give him a lot of short 3-step reads. You're going to hand him the ball, and you're going to let him do his thing on the ground. As far as taking away his opportunities to hand the ball off, that's exactly what we're seeing right here.
Gio nearly got the corner, and he picks up 10 for a first down here for Cienega.
And Jamari, he's one of the more resilient quarterbacks I've ever studied on film and that I've seen here in person visually. He can definitely bounce back from any sort of turnover. He could throw a 60-yard pick six. He'll be right back where he started back on the field. He's one of the more resilient quarterbacks I've seen here in the state.
And I'd say he does have that gunslinger's mentality, so if he makes a mistake, he's going to come back and keep slinging the rock all over the field. He's got the arm strength. We saw it earlier. A 37-yard touchdown, which appeared to be a touchdown, was wiped off the board that he threw to Rodney Rogers. Handoff goes to the right side, and that is Devin Garrett, the senior, with the second carry tonight. So Garrett's been impressive. A gain of 7 and a first down. Earlier he had a pickup of 10, so 2 for 17. And now the ball is back in Tucson High territory at the 47-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Cats.
And both of those interceptions that he threw, Jamari Joyner had let the ball go before he even finished his 4 or 5-step drop back. The Badgers are doing a nice job of flooding the inside, flooding the A and B gaps, and I think that just might be Jamari Joyner's kryptonite here, flooding the interior, and when he wants to roll to the outside, as soon as he rolls to the outside on a rollout, he's looking downfield. He's not looking short field, he's looking to take off, or he's looking downfield. And both of those times, every single time they run a stunt to the inside, they blitz the middle linebacker on either of those plays. Jamari gets trigger happy and lets the ball go before he can even make a progressional read.
So we've got a timeout here from Tucson High with 8:52 on the clock. And the Bobcats up 7-3. We'll take a quick break. Back in a flash. You're listening to exclusive coverage of Cienega High School football on Bobcat TV.
Julian says that when you're ready to go to them, tell us because they can't see us.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So I want to make sure that we're getting audio here. Like everything appears to be fine.
I can hear it in the camera.
What's that?
I can hear it in the camera.
That's fine. And I'm wondering about the stream because everything appears to be like good on our end. But I mean, we had a bunch of listeners before, and now we don't have that many listeners that are on there. So I don't know. Like, are you guys still live? And then okay, I hear you. Like we didn't type that, right? Like somebody else typed that in. So and then we have Mason Porras with like 40 different like chat entries here.
What does he say?
I don't know. Can we block him? Can we block that kid? All right, and there's Gio Owens coming back after the timeout, so a gain of 13 yards and a first down. Gio, very impressive as a runner. He is one of those. I talk about them very often. The Fleet Four, as it were, one of those kids who's on the 4x100 relay. Jamari Joyner, Rodney Rogers, Gio Owens, and there's one more athlete, Terrell Hayward. Those are the 4 guys who are on that speedy track team. There's Rogers now, cutting up to the near side, down the middle. Rogers goes into the end zone for a touchdown. 30 yards on the touchdown by Rodney Rogers.
And that's what's so exciting about the Bobcat offense. Every single time they score with the football and they got the ball in their hands, they're scoring from 11 yards plus out of the end zone. There's no such thing as first and goal for the Bobcats. It's all set up off of one giant play, and it just builds right off of each other, just staircases right off of each other. That's how exciting they are here on the offensive side of the ball.
And here comes PJ Coco, the junior kicker, coming on for the extra point. And there's a penalty down here now on the play. Bobcats backup quarterback Luis Morales is the holder. We have an offsides here going against Tucson High. So maybe is it like half the distance to the goal?
Yes, yeah, that's exactly it.
Since they're setting up at the 5, they set up at the 2.5-yard line. And they'll make the extra point even closer. So we're talking about an 18-yard extra point attempt here. for PJ Coco. So 8:34 on the clock. Cats up 13-3. Snap is low. Nice hold there. And Coco drills the extra point. So the Cats are now up 14-3 after that electrifying run from Rodney Rogers.
And if you're the Badgers, you can't get down and out yet. You can't start packing up your lunch, packing up your bags, and going home here. You score one touchdown, a field goal even, you're just down one possession. It's a two-possession ball game, and there's about 8 minutes, 34 seconds left in the half. You got more than enough time to tie the ball game, even go up in the half before it ends.
I agree. And you wonder a little bit, Arthur, if the Cats coming in here tonight may have been looking past Tucson High a little bit. I mean, it's kind of hard to conceive.
It's easy to overlook such an opponent, and of course, when you got such a...
Nothing against Tucson High, but it's South Point next week that they're looking towards.
Yeah, they got that heavyweight bout next week, so this is more or less just their filler game here, more or less.
A tune-up fight. It's a tune-up fight to next week's marquee matchup. Interesting tonight. There was a lot of activity buzzing around here. Both KRQ 93.7 and I was going to say K-Hots. It is K-Hots, right?
Yeah.
89
or something.
No, it's 80. What is it? 80. I should know what that station is. It's K-Hots, but I don't know the frequency on that station. They're a hip-hop channel. 98.3. Number one for hip-hop and R&B.
And he's got
There's a kickoff return here, and there's one man to beat, Daniel Salamone, and there's a flag down at the 25-yard line. So Salamone, a 75-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, but there is a penalty down at the 25, and all the referees are standing back there. Oh, and it's a hold. So
at the spot of the foul.
So caught in the act of a jailbreak. And it's a shame because Salamone was off to the races. And you hear the smattering of boos. We're on the home side here. So we're embedded here behind enemy lines, behind Tucson High School's Badger fans, as I start whispering here. And that'll come back. That's a shame because it was a great return from Salamone. So anyway, 98.3 and 93.7 KRQ were both here. My children listen to like those stations. And I know the kids are listening to that music. And I like some of that stuff on 98.3. The occasional hip-hop song. So they're here tonight, and they've got tents set up. And then I talked to like one of their promotions people, and then she said that they would also be at next week's game at Cienega, because I asked her specifically, are you going to be at the Cienega South Point game? And she said yes. So we are certainly looking toward that game with great anticipation Thursday night, the heavyweight title fight, as it were, in Tucson football in southern Arizona.
Back at the 15-yard line, where they'll take over 1st and 10.
Now I thought it was Andre Cordova, but it's Jesus Montano. Ball is intercepted. Hunter Schlegel with the pick. So the freshman off the tip. And you can hear the defensive coaches up here, the coaches that are calling plays from up above. You can hear their excitement here as Hunter Schlegel, number 74, the freshman, on the interception. His first interception of his career on varsity. But how impressive for a freshman to make varsity. Very rare.
And on those slip screens, just like the Badgers were trying to set up there. The slip screens with the running back, you fake as if it were a draw or just a quick dive, and then the offensive linemen take off, and then all of a sudden it's a screen. You can't make the mistake as a quarterback. I know it's a little oxymoronic, a little contradictory to say you have to throw it at his belt when you make a throw like that, and that was the exact reason why, because when you try and throw over the lineman, it gives the defensive lineman, the defensive backs, the linebackers time to make an exact play like that.
Jamar Wilson was right, and he's chased out of bounds. He hurdles,
loses a ton of ground
to avoid that low tackle. So that's always my concern with Jamar, is that somebody's going to target his legs or his knees. Eric Reed, number 40, the junior, was going low, and Jamar just hurt, and he is a hurdler. I think the 110-meter hurdles, and he was a silver medalist last year in both the hurdles and the long jump. So silver medalist, I think, in 3 sports, or 3 events, which would be the 4x100 relay, the long jump, and the 110-meter hurdles. A super athlete.
Super.
Just and off the charts.
Cienega goes back into that bunch set, and here they go in the roll-out out pattern.
Harshman to the out, lowers his shoulder. He picks up 10, maybe 9 on the reception. And that will set up is it a 4th down and goal from the 5? Or 3rd down and goal from the 5-yard line?
3rd down and goal from the 5-yard line. They got rid of the chains.
Okay. We're at the 7, actually. So 3rd and goal from the 7 here. Harshman, the senior, he doubles at tight end. He's got great hands, very athletic. And it was a simple out pattern. So a 7-yard out there from Jamari to bring them closer here to within striking distance. Devin Garrett is there at tailback as the senior flanked up next to him. And the handoff goes on the delay to Garrett, who cuts it upfield and plunges very close to the goal line. So it'll set up 4th down and goal from the 1. Cats go for it here, try to pop one in.
If you got such firepower like the Bobcats do here, of course you're going to go for it. And you have a multitude of play calling options here. You give it up the gut to guys like Garrett, a guy like Aarons, a guy like Garrett, a guy like Owens, my mistake. Or you can just throw it up top to one of your 6-foot-plus wide receivers, or you can run a quarterback draw. You have a crown box of options here. Every color, every various play calling option you could think of when you got firepower like this.
And certainly one of those options that you can go to is just let Jamari do what he does.
Exactly.
And let him decide if he wants to tuck the ball and run. He could run somebody over. He could leap over the goal line. Or he could throw or dish it out. And they also have other weapons. Devin Garrett's been impressive tonight at running back. They also have Gio Owens, who has explosive speed. So you've got different options here. It'll be interesting to see what kind of personnel comes out here for the Cats. If they'll go heavy with run blockers, or if they'll go with so we see Eli Galvan, 42, and he is a true fullback, right, at 5'10", 206, I think are his dimensions. So they may try to pound the ball with him, 5'10", 221, excuse me. So 4th and goal from the 2. Harshman's out there as well. He's a tight end. We also have Nate Amico. So this is the jumbo package, as it were, coming out for the Cats.
Definitely. And the very, very keen part about this jumbo package is the tight ends are the receivers on the line. So the receivers flankers outside and on the sidelines, they're off the sideline.
Gavon in motion, blazes a hole there, wide enough for Jamari to slash through.
And that's exactly
a touchdown.
What we called there.
2-yard touchdown run, Jamari Joyner. Very impressive. Galvan went in motion, and he kind of stopped between the left tackle and the left guard, and he plowed upfield, and he blazed a giant hole there. The left side of the offensive line also carving up some space there, and Jamari just knifed his way in for an easy 2-yard touchdown plunge.
And that motion block, they call it a kick block. The way you set that up is you leave the defensive end unblocked so that motion, the man in motion, who already has a full head of steam, he already has some momentum going his way, is the one that's going to kick that defensive end out, and there's a seam right in between those two guys, and you're more or less just going to get 2 to 3 yards every single time that's called with playmakers like that.
PJ Coco, he's hot cocoa tonight. He's got the 3 extra points here, does number 81, and the Bobcats now extend their lead to 21-3 with 6:51 on the clock here in the second quarter from beautiful, pristine Rincon University High School, one of the best high schools in America, University High, but Rincon as well. And I've got to throw another shout out there to Enadina Miller, who is an alumni of Rincon High School. Her sister is an alum of Tucson High, one of those great soccer players from the late 90s under head coach Brian Coppy, who was kind of like Indiana Jones. He always rocked one of those fedoras. I don't think he had the leather jacket and the whip, but
glasses.
Yeah, but who knows what he's got going on? Raiders of the Lost Ark. And we'll try to get clarification again about Ezra Figueroa. I know his birthday was 2 days ago, and I was intending to pop in and wish him a happy birthday. He's in Jennifer Porter's 3rd period English class right across the hallway, and I meant to pop in there, but I didn't want to disrupt your class, so I knew he had a birthday, but and maybe he's traveling. Who knows? Coco here on the kickoff, and he's done a great job tonight. Ball is fielded at the 10-yard line. And here's number 12 again, Daniel Salomon.
Ball's on the ground.
Fumble.
Hit the deck.
Cats are saying they've got it. And the ball is recovered by Cienega. And I think it was Ethan White there on the fumble recovery. Number 12, the junior, getting hugs and high fives. So big Ethan, number 12, on the fumble recovery. And he'll get some accolades and kudos there from his mates on the far sideline.
And this isn't necessarily the end of the world for the Tucson Badgers. It's a 21-3 ball game, 6:44, just under 7 minutes in the half. If you gotta look at field goal here. You're more or less with the kicker that the Cats have. You're gonna give up a field goal at the very least with just plus or minus 5 yards in field position. So you're looking at a 24-3 ball game. You put one in, it's 24-10. It's a 14-point ball game coming into the half as they get the ball back. It's not necessarily the end of the world here. And a delay of game on the Cats.
The kind of penalties that drive coaches crazy.
Yeah, of course, that's what we call drive killers here, because now the Cats are out of field goal range. They go 3 and out here. They even lose some yards here, and the Tucson Badgers are right back where they started with some time on the clock.
But they haven't had issues moving the football forward here, especially in the second quarter. So with all that talent that's out on the field, Terrell Huggins far side, Jerry White near side, Rogers goes in motion, Jamari back to throw, rolls to his left under a little bit of pressure, lost it to the corner, looking for Rogers. Rogers was in the spin cycle there. He turned right, then had it double back to the left. So in his vicinity from Jamari, but it's just funny to see him from the middle of the field to flick the football and have it travel 45 yards in the air, almost exactly where it needs to be.
And he's just shooting darts out there with the football too. But when you look back at that play, it's not too visual right now with just the audio broadcast. But when you guys look back at the playback video coverage, once again, the inside A and B gap from the defensive line, the inside linebackers flooded inside, forced Jamari to roll out, and he got a little trigger happy and forced another football.
2nd down and 15. Rogers and White near side, Hayward in the slot far side, and Huggins in the far side. Rogers goes in motion. It's a play action there, and then a false start penalty going against Cienega. So now it'll be 2nd down and 20 yards to go here.
And the Cats are bad position here.
Pat Nugent's blood pressure is increasing a little bit.
200 over 5 is what it's looking like at. She'll be bald by the end of the game.
Namaste. Yoga, some breathing exercises.
Pilates, nutrition,
some Tai Chi.
high fiber.
Maybe some herbal tea, like post-game or in halftime. Jamari now 2nd and 20. Rodney goes in motion far side.
They're going to let him throw the ball here.
Under some pressure now.
There he goes, forcing another play.
Ooh, this was a rain there. End zone. Incomplete.
And
maybe a collision
on the ground.
Both Terrells were there, Hayward and Huggins, and they may have collided going for that football that was lofted up. A lot of loft, a lot of air and hang time underneath that, and now a holding penalty here. They're trying to protect Jamari on that pass, and we do have a flag down. So let's add, well, I guess Tucson High has the option here. They can accept the penalty, which makes it like, it would make it 3rd and 30, or 2nd and 30. They can replay it down to make it 2nd and 30, or they can keep it 3rd down. They would lose it down here, make it 3rd down and 20. So they're going to back the Cats up here.
And well, you got a trigger-happy quarterback with Joyner. You got a trigger-happy play caller like Nugent. They had 3 deep routes, 3 routes that went past 20 yards, and then they had a 10-yard out route. He's looking a little trigger-happy with the play calling. Run the ball off, offset, keep the defense honest, and let Jamari Joyner reduce the margin of error. Like I said before, don't take away his opportunities to make plays. Just reduce the margin of error with the play calling. And when you're with the defensive side of the ball with the Badgers, they're definitely starting to flood that inside. They're bringing a lot more heat, and Jamari's forcing a lot more balls here.
2nd down and 30. The Cats could chip away here, something to the interior, like a post or a slant, to try to carve up some yardage. There's a pass to the far side going to Hayward. Hayward is spun around here. There's a late flag here. It might be a foul here going against the offensive line on a block. So Terrell Owens on the catch, and he only picks up maybe 6 on the reception. And we have another hold here, and I think that one's going against Carter Clark. So Carter is doing double duty there on the offensive line. So we also have Zach Mattis, number 50, the junior, who works on the offensive line and defensive front. Number 54 is DiMaggio Strave. His dad's got to be a Yankee fan, right? You wouldn't name your kid DiMaggio as a first name unless you were a fan of the Yankee Clipper, Joe DiMaggio. And then we've got 52, Dante Bodie, who goes both ways.
Second down.
So a lot of those linemen for the Cats have to do double duty. So you can just imagine like how exhausting it is for those guys. So second down and 37. Hayward goes in motion far side. Jamari in the pistol. Hayward comes this side. Play action. Jamari up the middle, and he is gobbled up by the massive defensive lineman, number 75.
Number 11 joiner, sack.
Julian Villanueva, 6'5", 300. He casts a shadow on his own, does number 75. Just massive on the defensive front.
And as much as we want to see something as exciting as just a pass downfield, like starting to call plays like Pete Carroll here, the way he calls the ball against the Seahawks. But I gotta say, you gotta cut your losses here. Maybe a draw, not a screen, as we've seen how unlucky the screens have been on both sides of the ball. Maybe a draw, maybe run that wide trap, let Jamari run something on the interior. You gotta cut your losses here and just start thinking about field position, because the Badgers are looking at making this a 2-possession ball game with getting the ball back at the half.
The Cats keep shooting the moon here. It's a crescent moon. Jamari downfield. Deep pass intended, incomplete. It was Kavan Waples running a deep post pattern. Jamari's really just been kind of like slinging it around there, so out to space.
That's exactly it. Every single time he's forced the ball and just let it fly and hope the receiver can make the play for him, there's been somebody right in his face. And I was giving him such great praise about how he buys time in the pocket, but this entire time, every single time a pass gets inside the line and breaks through the plane, breaks through the pocket, Jamari hasn't done a good job of stepping up the pocket, rolling out, buying himself time, letting the receivers get releases on the routes instead of forcing the receivers to make their play.
Yep, I was going to say he's throwing off his back foot a lot here, and this punch, it squibs over to the 35, gets a little bit of a roll here, and it will roll down. Nice coverage there from Cienega's number 10, Sergio Torres. So the junior Sergio downs it at the 11-yard line. So 11 and 30 and 29. 39. 50-yard punt on the play there.
There we go.
From Jamari.
Take a bounce.
But we've seen Jamari. He doesn't have like the natural hang time. He doesn't have the natural distance on his punts.
No, but he has that natural playmaking ability.
True.
Is what he excels on.
And he gets some nice rolls. Like usually the ball rolls or bounces like his direction in the positive. So he got the roll there. And nice job in coverage by Sergio Torres. So Tucson High here, pinned down at their 11-yard line. The Cats here still, field possession-wise, have been able to pin the Badgers deep in their own end with regularity. Jesus Montano for the pistol. And he hands off to the right side. It's Mario Garcia, the senior tailback. And Mario picks up 3. It'll be 2nd and 7 here. 4:43 on the clock in the second quarter. The Bobcats are up on top, 21-3.
Handoff for a gain of 4.
And the Cats got to keep everything in front of you. The Badgers are going to try and milk the clock. Let them milk the clock. Force them into a corner. Let the Badgers make their own mistakes. Mr. Darling can't be too trigger happy with those blitzes. He can't be too trigger happy with those gap control calls. He's got to let the Badgers force themselves into a mistake here.
Big run here, play goes right side. And it's a pickup of 18 on the carry.
Handoff number 14.
And that's exactly where the Badgers have been excelling, and that's exactly where they'll continue to excel. Like I was talking about the trigger-happy defensive play caller, Mr. Darling, that he is. He's looking too worried about the presence of the blitz and the presence of these wild running linebackers that they forget to defend the run. They're blitzing towards one gap. One gap is left unaccounted for. And they did a nice job there. I'll give them that much.
Dante Bodie, a nice player on defense and offense. He wraps up Gary Love. Love had the previous play, and it was 19 on the previous play for a first down. So the Badgers have found some success here running the football, and we knew they didn't throw the ball very much. Their quarterback, Jesus Montano, is a runner-passer. He's a prototypical high school quarterback who can run a little bit and throw a little bit, and he's out there for his leadership. High snap, hands off here. Going to the right side, Keyshawn Valencia Crump, and Zach Mattis with an arm tackle there, dropping him down at the line of scrimmage. So a gain of maybe 2, and it's 3rd down and 13. 3:20 on the clock, second quarter.
Handoff number 25.
Cats up 21-3.
2 yards.
But I love this vista here that we have at Rincon High. If you look off across the way, you can see the lights of the foothills, the residents in the foothills of the Catalina Mountains. I guess, they are the Catalina Mountains, right? And the Rincon Mountains, I think, are to the east of us. Okay, thank you. I was going to lose all of my Tucson credibility there in one short sentence. So it's just a beautiful vista here, and then the natural grass. We don't see that often, so that's one of the things I was excited about. Man. I wanted to go down to the field and walk on the grass and smell it, maybe roll around in it, pull up a little piece of
grass
sod,
angel.
Maybe put it in my mouth and taste it.
Yeah.
How does this grass taste? We did stop at Lucky Wishbone, which is right down the street at Swan and Broadway. I have not eaten my mom chicken yet, chicken tenders with the cocktail sauce. And I might get food poisoning tonight, so if I'm having some issues...
It's all worth it.
It could be worth it. So we did have to stop at Lucky Wishbone. That is a Tucson staple. It's right down the street here from Rincon University High School.
And here we go. Badgers go 3-by-1, but run offset running back in the backfield. Let's see something here. Let's see some magic.
3rd down and 13. A trio of wideouts near side, one far side, and Montano back to throw. Down the middle. Pass is caught. A great catch, a leaping catch, and a first down for Seth Molina, the senior, one of the captains here tonight, picks up 15 on the catch, and it was beautiful. He went airborne. The pass was delivered precisely where it needed to be.
Exactly.
And it was a nice job of Molina finding some space there to operate on the interior.
And when you go 2 over top like Darling has been, that's rock, paper, scissors. Paper always beats rock. That deep post route will beat that cover 2 every time, and there we go, illegal formation, illegal motion.
Come on, we had two guys going in motion. One was going horizontally to the line, one was going vertically, moving north-south. So if I'm able to see that, then certainly the coaches are able to see that.
It broke my speech a bit. I got a little confused.
It's pretty crazy.
And there it is right there, illegal motion.
The Washington Redskins in Super Tecmo Bowl, their default plays, they did all kinds of crazy motion. So when you see it happening, you're like, I don't know how to defend this. But then it's just all right, we got to put hats on hats, and everybody's got to pick somebody. So clearly illegal motion.
Shouts out to Doug Williams, Darrell Green.
Correct. Yep.
Who else?
Darrell Green, Doug Williams, Joe Gibbs, the head coach, the Hogs, Bostic and Jacoby. John Riggins was a big running back for that team.
And here we go, interior run lanes with the quarterback.
Yep, big run there. Montano on the quarterback draw picks up 16. Of course, Doug Williams, the first African-American quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Great quarterback.
Great mustache.
Yeah, just great all around. A great person in the community. Darrell Green was one of those. I was in D.C. in that era. So the Washington Redskins, I can't tell you how important they were to the community. And everybody would lament, in the late 90s, it's oh man, if Joe Gibbs were here, just love Joe Gibbs, 3-time Super Bowl champion. Harshman off of his hands. The ball was tipped up and then caught there at the 20-yard line. And it's Eric Reed, number 40, the junior wide receiver. And I have a friend, Eric Reed, who was a huge Redskin fan from Bethesda, Maryland, still lives in Bethesda. So it's interesting to talk about D.C. and then talk about Eric Reed. They spell their names differently, but a nice catch there by Eric, number 40. Montano on the quarterback draw, and Hunter Schlegel on the tackle.
These cats, like I said 1,000 times before, I'll be a broken record. I say it once before, I'll say it again. They're looking a little too worried about the presence of the linebackers, and they're breaking through the plane, breaking through the line of scrimmage at the O-line, that they're shooting so far upfield every single time these backers get through that as soon as one of these ball carriers breaks through the first wave, they're taking off for 5+ yards.
Wow, a pitch to the right side. We don't see that often. Gary Love on the pitch going to the right side. 1:25 on the clock here, and it's going to make it 4th down and about 7 on the play. Dante Bodie is down. He's clutching one of his calves. And there'll be a timeout down on the field. Carter Clark, one of his friends on the defensive line, also Kyle Bowen, the great trainer from Cienega, out there checking on Dante, and we hope this is not serious. Brett Darling, by the way, the defensive coordinator for the Cats, is a huge Redskin fan. We forgot about the fun bunch. So they had Art Monk, the great Hall of Fame wide receiver, number 81, I believe. And they also had Ricky Sanders, 83, and... oh man, Gary, number 84.
Gary Busey.
No, not Gary. not Gary Busey. There's another guy. I can't remember his name. It's too long. But they had 3 great wide receivers on that team. They were just loaded with talent.
And Kirk Cousins looks like he's doing the DC area good, along with all the the fine arts presence that the DMV, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia area has too.
Think about the Redskins, right? They thought they had their quarterback of the present and
With
future
Robert Griffith.
RG3 from Baylor. And a shout out to Mark Avey, an alum of Baylor University in Texas. And then they ended up finding Kirk Cousins, who is truly a franchise quarterback, and they're not sure if he was franchised. They franchised him with their tags and their designations to limit him from finding other opportunities elsewhere as a free agent, but they're going to have to pay him because he is a franchise quarterback. With the false start here going against the Badgers.
And now we're looking at a 3rd and long here. Badgers are out of field goal range. That might have killed the drive there for them.
47 seconds. The clock is running here. It's interesting. There was a penalty, right? So I guess against the offense, maybe under a minute, they'll allow that clock to run here.
And you got to put it in the air here. At least make it. There we go. Make it a shorter 3rd down.
Flare near side.
4th down.
Dylan Hoos with a nice tackle there, grabbing onto both
28
legs.
seconds of running. They got to get back on the field here. They're strolling through the park here.
Well, Tucson High is going for a field goal. They've got the range to do this here. It's 4th down and 9, and I think they do have a timeout left.
So this is looking like it's going to be the last play of the half.
7 seconds.
6 seconds.
4 seconds.
That's it. There
And
we go.
now a timeout.
I'd say that was a missed opportunity by the Badgers. They definitely
so.
know they have the capability to punch it in. At least put the ball inside the 10-yard line and just hope for the best at the very least.
Or try to. And if you're going to run the clock down to 4 seconds, then that would kind of like signal their intention of kicking a field goal here.
Yeah. I'd say that was timid once again. Timid.
We've seen Mark Vargas, their sophomore kicker, connect from 38 yards. So we'd be looking at here about a 37-yard field goal, so certainly within his range. But you're going from 21-3 to trying to make it to 21-6.
It's still a 2-possession ball game.
And then you get the football in the second half because the Badgers will receive in the second half. So I can kind of understand the logic. But I agree with you. It's a little bit timid of a call here. If you're trying to go for a huge upset, no guts, no glory. You've got to go for some big things and try to make some things happen here.
When you're betting pennies, you only make pennies back.
So Justin Argraves, the head coach here at Tucson High, 6A Southern, 2-3 on the season. And then here is the kicker, Mark Vargas, from 37. Nope. And may have been tipped at the line of scrimmage. I think Carter Clark may have gotten a piece of that. He's running off the field here pretty enthusiastically.
And that ball was 3 yards short of being a live ball. When the ball gets tipped, if it's still inside the touchback area, inside the end zone, it's a live ball. It's 2 yards short of being a live ball. That's why the end man of the field goal return, he went for that ball until it went to the end zone.
Was that Auburn against Alabama? That classic
2013 or 14.
And it was like I
took it all the way back.
109 yards?
109 yards for the
touchdown or something like that, which is pretty crazy.
And that Auburn Tiger receiver, he doesn't have to pay for a drink in Auburn, Alabama for the rest of his life.
Ever. So you hear that sound? That's the air coming out of the sails here from Tucson High. Mark Vargas's field goal just landed with a thud. And 21-3 here at the halftime score.
With an opportunity to get the ball back. It's not over till it's
true. Not over, but slightly demoralizing as a team, and certainly disheartening to see that you had the opportunity to make something happen there, and things just kind of like unraveled at the end. So I see the logic, but you and I don't agree with the choice. But we're not the coach either. We're just
exactly. That's what we're here.
Critique Monday morning quarterback.
We're the journalists here creating headlines.
Exactly. We've got some youth football out there, or some cheerleaders from Tucson High out there, and some youth cheerleaders. So it's nice to see like the youngsters here coming out on this beautiful grass field. So we'll take a break. We'll come back. You're listening to exclusive coverage of Bobcat TV football, or Bobcat football on Bobcat TV. back in, let's see, we've got 17 minutes. We're to kill the broadcast right now to conserve time on our clock. We have an hour and 13 minutes left on our broadcast. So join us back here in 16 minutes. So synchronize our watches here, Mission Impossible style, and we'll see you back in 16 right here on Bobcat TV. Can we borrow those earbuds? I just don't know if we're getting sound. Like, it looks like we are. We know you are, which is fine. Yeah, Mixler.
I was listening to it.
Oh, how does it sound? Oh, well, then take these back. Chicken strips. Let's eat a little something. We can talk about Lucky Wishbone. Oh wow, they give you fried chicken. Well, that's good too. All right. So we can. You want to share this breast? Pick at it.
What are we thinking?
Huh?
What are we thinking?
What do you mean?
It's a little lackluster football here, in my opinion. What would you say?
It is a little sloppy.
A little shallow.
I'm going to film tomorrow to watch film, and the kids are like, "Oh, it's a roast."
That's basically what it is. Because you don't watch film and you don't see what you did good. You see what you improve on.
But if it goes off against South Point, like, that's more important, right? I think he has a great game next week.
Kobe Bryant changing his number.
From 8 to 24?
Here for your Tucson High,
to 8?
third line and palm line, and your baby Badgers.
You guys ate, right? You stopped on the way over here to grab something to eat? Okay. Where'd you guys go to eat?
EG's.
Nice. I'm gonna rip this bread in half. Half-ish. And then, where's our cocktail sauce at?
Now entering the field, the Tucson High Marching 100.
Hey,
Tucson High Marching 100.
did you guys get cocktail sauce?
2017-18.
Did you get cocktail sauce?
Expression in red. Part 1 is Excitement, featuring the music of Tapestry of Nations.
Was it in the box or was it in the bag?
Part 2 is Passion, featuring One Day I'll Fly Away from Moulin Rouge. Part 3 is Joy, using Copeland's Red Pony.
Hey, so we'll have them signal down to you guys. Are we gonna?
It didn't be like that. Well, say my
The Marching 100 is directed by Lucy Houston and Dean
I don't know.
Moore. Color guard instructor is Terry Hutchinson. Rise instructor is
I don't know.
Percussion instructor is
It was good. As soon as you guys started going, we just turned the volume up, so the reports were very crisp. We should be able to come in back from before the second half.
Will be the last performance of these.
They'll have 3 minutes on the clock from halftime to Amber Walker Mata.
Drum majors are Ricardo Calderon.
Who are you?
Sophia.
No. We took a break for halftime.
This is this kid right here in the red shirt. That's his.
This is Nick.
Hey Nick.
Nick, Arthur, Amber,
Nice to meet you.
the Matas, Nick Lear, the savior tonight.
I have literally, I got here like 4 minutes ago. Our team.
Dude, it's a bit of a asterisk because it should be 14-3, one possession difference because that one touchdown came from a freaking intercepted screen. Happened at like the 10-yard line.
True.
So in reality, the offense has only scored twice.
Scrum majors, in
And
your
one
land
baby
ready.
over there. Yeah. And they've scored twice, and the offense has yet to put together a 60-yard drive without running a 20-yard plus play. It's not bad. That's just saying that lacking that big play effort.
And you may take the
not really
field.
so good.
It's been a slog. It's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
sloppy. Not pretty to watch.
Oh my goodness. But they're relying on their athleticism.
I like how you're still in your hands.
But the score is nice. We're sharing chicken.
Yeah, I was
I
like,
see.
We're going
did they
like
have it close so I could share it with you? Did they share this with me?
I can go get it. It's over there. There's a lot of
If
food.
it's not far.
keep eating.
It's just, do you see where the cheerleaders are sitting? That's where it is.
That's fine. That's straight right there.
Oh, really? I grew up on a street over there.
Right over.
I grew up on 13th Street, so we head up this way towards where, like the Barnes and Noble is, like right down the street, right there, like the African girl.
This way over there. She's on Poe Street. That's Poet's Corner. So it's like Poe, Hawthorne. I forget the other streets. Belvedere. She's on Belvedere and Poe. It's like right over there.
How's she doing? What's she doing?
She's watching the Ninjago movie with her children. So they're excited about it.
She had me when she was 18.
18.
I bring you a fit, but it's my own best. I bring you that
We're gonna eat this.
Yeah.
It's all saturated fat. It is. It is a good seat. It's the best.
Remember I was talking about how sloppy everything was? Look how sloppy it is.
Still?
Look at this.
The guy between the 50 and the 45, he's off. I should be careful not to be like his parents like right in front of us. But there was a game in like the 80s. It was a football field. It was metal and it was electric. You would plug it in. You had little players you would set up. So I needed that for my birthday or for Christmas, whatever. Like I need this. And Sears used to have a catalog like that thick.
We talked about that.
So we'd look through the catalog and like find the photos of like the girls like bra and underwear, and we'd like look at those. We were like 8 years old, we didn't know anything about anything, but it was just like fascinating. And then we go to the toys, and they had a big section of toys, whatever. So I got one for Christmas one year, and I was like, this is great. I plugged it in, I set up the players, I'm like, I'm gonna play football. You click, you flip it on, and the thing just vibrates, so the players just go moving all over. You can't do anything. It was so disappointing. This reminds me of that a little bit, where you just like turn it on, and it's like pieces just moving around randomly. Like, what's going on? He was the old DC.
He loves you and your dad.
No, it doesn't.
He was just a little bit. We not like him.
Well,
We were beneath him.
you're the you're married to art, so it's not like
He's getting his brownie points.
you know. It's not like he's gonna be like, I don't really like that guy.
Ran into Sean too. He like showed my mom too. Tried it. He was like in there staring at us.
Lucky Wishbone, man. I love it.
I love it. We might have to get this up afterwards.
Oh my god!
This thing's been up and running since my days.
Your day?
Since my day.
Same board?
Yeah, the Behringer.
Still trucking, man. Keep on trucking. I have hand sanitizer too, so afterwards we can sanitize our hands because I'm all greased out.
And that's the worst part about not having a quarterback like Tucson High. Is that you can't trust him, even if by some stroke of genius that you were able to put it to like a 3-point, 4-point game.
Yeah.
You can't give him the ball and trust him to trot all the way down the field. Like Cienega just has to put up one more possession ahead, and then that's a wrap. High school football.
I guess it's been sloppy though.
Dude, it's just it looks unprepared. It looks like they showed up and just they were unprepared. And then against Tucson High, just unprepared to play football.
Right. So maybe distracted. Maybe we're better than they are. Maybe just show up and play.
For the year I was the GA and Hassie was up in the booth every single game just doing his thing. It's just what would drive us nuts is that we'd like, all right, let's wrap up, let's go to the half, and then we'd run into Hassie. Hey, you guys seeing this, and that? It's like, yeah, I guess we're watching the same game you watch. You just sit there like, hey, you guys got to do this. And it's like,
Eat that. I don't know if that's a thigh or whatever that is. Eat that piece. That's yours.
It's like, yeah, dude. Like,
I'll take the wing.
we know. Anyways, like that whole thing about Jamari getting flooded inside. That's something you like need to know as a coach. But if you're Pat Nugent, you know exactly what the hell's going on. It's just the damn kids.
Right. They're going off script or they're going off the reservation. Right?
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Tucson High, RG 100.
You don't want to like take away all of his playmaking ability and say don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. You're like, okay, you're gonna make some mistakes, whatever. But think about this.
Don't give him a 3-step, 4 progression read. Just give him a 3-step
You guys are cute. I love it. Good to see you.
Alright, well, have fun. I'll be back later. Gonna go be a true boss.
A couple fries in here.
Oh, thank you. Keep safe.
It's cool. So what I love about that is the way the toast, the way the butter toast sits on the
Yeah, but we didn't get the cocktail sauce, man. It's like that's a big piece.
It's like the mustard at the Popeyes.
Welcome back to the field. Your
Magic, right?
Did you send them in the locker room?
What's that?
Did they go to the locker room? Because I'm really interested to hear what he told them.
And I wanted them to. I asked Jacob to go to the locker room, so he may have gone down there.
Yeah.
If he did, he'll have a great report for us. Otherwise, we're just guessing.
Yeah. Because I'm really interested to know if he's disciplining Jamari for making sloppy reads, or if it's just, hey guys, we're having a great game, keep going.
That's it, right? Yeah. It might be like, hey, we just have to tighten this up a little bit.
Yeah, that's definitely what it looks like.
Don't you think? right to those guys down in the field.
No problem.
Hey, are you guys ready? Are you ready to record? Are you ready to record? And go.
Thanks, guys. For Cienega offensively, it hasn't been the passing game that we see usually in previous games that gets them the lead. Tonight, they've got two rushing touchdowns from Rodney Rogers and Jamari Joyner, as the passing game hasn't been working for them, with 2 early picks from Jamari Joyner. The Badgers haven't been able to do anything offensively. They've done a pretty good job on the defensive side of the ball. In the locker room, Pat Nugent just told his players, I like this game because we're in it, and I like to see what you guys can do. And we don't have to make plays as one player. Let's do it as a whole because we're a great football team. Thanks, guys.
Oh, thank you, Jacob. That's exactly what we wanted to hear. So we were curious. Art Mata and I, we were talking about it at halftime. Boy, I wonder what Coach Nugent is saying to these kids in the locker room at halftime. Jacob Greenberg delivering for us there with his on-spot reporting.
Thank you. And I honestly couldn't agree with Coach Nugent more. He's saying he's trying to take away the pressure off of every individual player that they feel the need to separate and create some separation in the scoreboard. Is Jamari needs to throw a good pass, receiver needs to make a good catch, other receivers need to run good routes to take away pressure on that receiver getting the ball towards them. O-line needs to block for the running back needs to shoot through the gap so that the O-line has a great base zone read. And it's a team sport. Nugent, that's one of the reasons he's a head coach and he's not a coordinator, is because he can take control of a team in a locker room like that and sort of take the pressure off of them. Great job. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, and Niemer Hassey, too, the predecessor to Pat Nugent, a great head coach in his own right, the principal at Cienega High School. His hand-chosen successor was Pat Nugent because he knew that Pat was the guy that had the leadership qualities, the intangibles that you need at the head coaching position, the pedigree, the knowledge of the sport, the X's and O's, all those things. But it's a really difficult job. You are supervising so many different people, the entire coaching staff and all the players and everything that goes into a daily, weekly regimen, weight room conditioning, the film study, the game plan and preparation, the practices, the games themselves. So he's somebody that embodies excellence in every facet of coaching, just like Niemer Hassey did. And I like that message too, Art. I think that in the locker room at halftime, you're trying to encourage these kids. Listen, this is not an individual game. There are 11 of you on the field at one time. It's a total team effort, offense, defense, special teams. Let's go out there and let's fight. I love that message.
And just being a player and a staff member from both of these coaches, it's sort of the difference between when the Buccaneers from the late 90s to the early 2000s went from Tony Dungy to John Gruden, sort of business to easygoing business to business casual here.
I like it. Daniel Salomon on the kickoff return out to the 24-yard line. Badgers going from right to left. Wearing those just lovely red uniforms from head to toe. Helmets are red, the jerseys, the pants, the socks. A lot of the players have red cleats. And we're playing here on the beautiful natural grass at Rincon University High School, donated from the Arizona Cardinals. So the Bobcats up on top, 21-3 here. We'll see if Tucson High has any wrinkles in their game plan in the second half. Quarterback Jesus Montano, the junior, number 1, the signal caller. Man going in motion is David Mariscal. Handoff goes to the left side here. And it's a gain of 3 on the carry.
And you guys couldn't see that just once again because of the audio only broadcast, but from up here in the booth, that's a little bit concerning. The Badgers were in a 3-by-1 set. They motion the interior slot receiver, and the defensive back covering that guy blew out, and they went to a cover 2 look, and it just left one receiver on 2 stacked on top of receivers. A pick play, a 21 slant out combo. That's wide open.
And Gary Love
here we go again. Here we go again with that
motion going far side. Handoff goes to Love. He's hit at the line of scrimmage, and it's Zach Mattis, the monster, junior, number 50. He's a product of the Mattis gym.
Yeah.
Mr. Mattis, Mrs. Mattis, they run a tight ship, man, I can tell you that. He has an older brother and an older sister. And Tyler Mattis is serving in the Air Force. Nikki Mattis is in Hawaii. I told her she needs to pick up a surfboard and hit the waves and learn how to surf.
At least learn how to braid hair.
She kind of nodded. I think she could do that too.
Yeah.
Useful down there in the islands. Mahalo, Nikki, if you're listening down there in Hawaii. All right, 3rd down and 8 here. Montano back to throw, takes 2 steps. Pivots, goes to his right side of the rollout. Under pressure here. And he is brought down. It was Nate Amico who got there first, and then Carter Clark will finish off the sack.
And this is the difference to me. It was a very immature mistake by Montano, the quarterback. You can tell he doesn't have a lot of play time here.
Dump it.
Yes, they were 3-by-1, and they all 3 receivers on the opposite side to us ran crossing routes directly across the field, and he rolls away from them where he didn't have a single receiver. Maybe he had to check down running back. I wasn't paying too much attention to them. He didn't have a single receiver. That's why he had to sit down, take the sack. A very, very immature mistake by Montano here.
Big loss on the play. The punter is standing in his own end zone here, so a bad snap could be catastrophic. High snap, handled. Shanked off the right side of his foot here. Terrell Hayward in traffic fields the ball. Pretty dicey catch there, but look how cool he is with the catch and then bringing it down to the 38-yard line, tackled by Gary Love. So the Cats have beautiful field position here.
Definitely.
At the 37-yard line, 1st and 10.
And every single time, except for one time when the drive stalled out, have the Cats scored when they're inside their opponent's 50. So that was a very, very, very costly mistake by Montano to roll out and take the sack there.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you hit it right on the head talking about his inexperience. He is a first-year quarterback at the varsity level, and certainly last year as a sophomore, I'm sure he was a starter on the JV level. Just little things that you pick up and you learn by doing. Devin Garrett here, bullying his way forward for maybe 6 yards on the carry. And Devin, the senior, 5'8", 170, but he runs bigger than that. He is a north-south runner with a low center of gravity that has been bullying and bowling over tacklers. So a north-south guy here is picking up some positive yardage, making a nice impact here tonight.
And a lot of what that stems off of is Devin Garrett has an amazing first step right as soon as the snap is coming right from beneath the center. Devin Garrett's got a great first step, and he's gaining 1 or 2 steps on these linebackers, and that's why they're having a hard time tackling this kid.
Jamari back to throw. Looks a double move here. Terrell Huggins just overthrew him. Huggins did a double move, and he had some separation, and Jamari just overthrew him. So Jamari, not as sharp as we've seen him.
Definitely.
And we know he's certainly much more capable, so just a little bit uneven of a performance here tonight. And you can see with his hands on his hips, like I think he's frustrated himself because he knows that he had Terrell Huggins there for a touchdown.
And looking back at that play, in my opinion, he looked to be a little bit forcing the ball. There wasn't no separation between the wide receiver and the defensive back until the ball was in the air. So that initial read was he just let it fly. There was an open receiver towards the sideline. Jamari's doing a very, very bad job progressing his reads here.
Back to throw, plants, pumps, fires. Hayward elevates, touchdown. Spectacular catch by Terrell Hayward. 34 yards on the touchdown catch. Unbelievable. The adjustment there by Hayward in midair to leap, turn, catch, pivot, plant, and step in. A beautiful catch there. It was a good throw by Jamari, but a great catch by Terrell Hayward at 33 yards on the touchdown.
Definitely, and a bad play by the defensive back as well. The ball was in the air. Not once did the defensive back look, turn, and play the ball, nor play the receiver. Terrell Hayward, my mistake, did a nice job of adjusting to that ball, but with all due respect to the Bobcats and their talent, there still is no game over for the Badgers nor for the Bobcats. They still got to keep their foot on the gas here.
True. PJ Coco with the extra point. He's been perfect tonight, 4 for 4. But what a catch by Terrell Hayward, 33 yards, running that deep fade route, and the ball was lofted there precisely by Jamari. But it was Hayward elevating, and the defensive back was in no man's land. He had his back to the play, didn't know exactly where the ball was. Hayward did. for him to be able to leap, make the adjustment, catch, plant, and skip into the end zone. A beautiful play there by Terrell Hayward. He has 2 touchdowns tonight, both of them 33 yards. He opened scoring tonight on a catch and run. That was a leap, a dazzling Tecmo catch, as it were, and a touchdown from the sensational junior wide receiver who can do everything for this Cats team, Terrell Hayward. He now has 6 receiving touchdowns on the year. The Tehe kid, Terrell Hayward, unbelievable. Getting a lot of attention from those Ivy League schools as well. Looking at him as a wide receiver, looking at him as a quarterback, and also as a kick and punt returner. So it's nice to see Hayward putting up 14 points tonight on his own. PJ Coco, ball is bobbled here. Out of bounds at the 3-yard line.
You gotta try and make a play on that ball. As soon as the play left his hands and he missed that catch, he just let it go. You gotta make a play on that ball, especially going inside the 5-yard line.
Daniel Salomon, he had a moment earlier tonight in the second quarter. He appeared to have returned a kickoff, 75 yards for a touchdown. It was brought back on a holding penalty, and now here making a mistake. He just didn't focus enough to bring that ball into the senior. And now again, it's been a recurring theme here tonight.
Field position.
Pinned deep in their own end of the Badgers. 8:35 on the clock, third quarter. The Cienega Bobcats are up on top, 28-3.
And if I'm the Badgers, I'm taking advantage of that inside running game. Just as I was about to say, he read my mind.
Daniel Salomon, 18 yards on the first down run.
My mistake. So his linebackers are so concerned with their penetrating abilities, as they were in the first half. They're always unaccounted for in one of these gaps, A to C, 1 to 5, or however you want to phrase those gaps. They're always unaccounting for one back because they're so concerned with their penetration that these running backs are, quite frankly, running free every single time they get their hands on the ball.
So it's easy to say that the linebackers should kind of like maintain their position, and then you certainly want them to be a little bit aggressive, as Zach Mattis here on the tackle for the Cats. So I mean, you get glory and you put pressure on the quarterback by getting penetration. So it might be easy to say like they should. They know their zones. They know their responsibilities.
Definitely. And here we go with that 2x2 stacked wide receiver set. I think they're looking to take advantage of that 2-on-1 matchup here.
And there's some miscommunication now as Dylan Hoos, the safety, the senior, drops down here. Rodney Rogers is like, I've got 2 guys over here. Who's going to help me out?
One over top. This isn't looking good. This is not looking good. And they decide to run the ball just to see how they cover that. Bobcats might be able to change that. That was very concerning for me, just as a football guy.
As a defensive coach, right? Looking back here and seeing that you have 2 guys in space and 1 defensive back.
And they go one over top. There's nobody right over Rodney Rogers. Rodney Rogers is on an island. He's on Hawaii. He needs a surfboard.
Luis Morales is out there at safety. Dylan Hoos at the line of scrimmage. You can see some communication here and some anxiety. It's going to be 3rd down and 8. See if Tucson High throws the football up. Looks flare pass. Montano rolls to his right. Screen to the right side. Incomplete. Good job by Mattis to snuff that one out and put some pressure on the receiver as the ball is dropped.
And Tucson High is doing a good job of being in positions that are manageable. That 3rd and 8 was a little out of manageable range per se, but it was manageable for these Badgers. They are lacking in execution. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as they need to catch the football. They need to make sure that these blocks are being held downfield. They need to make sure that these blocks are being held from the wide receivers to the defensive backs. These Badgers need to execute and need to take advantage of these opportunities to get back into this football game, or the Bobcats are going to run away with it on this next possession.
Yeah, they have a chance here to kind of like put a clamp on things pretty tightly. High snap. Barely brought down there by the punter. And Hayward, fair catch. So nice at the 46-yard line. So it will be a 22-yard punt when it's all said and done by Kayshawn Valencia Crump, who's not a punter by nature. He is a running back who's doing double duty just like Jamari is. So another great athlete on the other side for Tucson High School. But Hayward here has impressed and excelled in all facets of the game.
And that's exactly what Mr. Nugent was talking about when he said we need to make this turn this back into a team football game. Jamari's lacking, the run game is lacking a bit, so everybody else needs to step their game up to take the pressure off of these other athletes. They're doing exactly that.
Out pass goes to Jerry White. It's too short there on the out pattern.
The football hit the ground before it hit the receiver's hands.
Yep.
So Jamari's a little off target here, and a lot of that has to do with the pressure. A lot of that has to do with his mechanics. But ultimately, Pat Nugent is doing a good job of sort of taming the monster here. When you get a wild animal athlete like this, he's done such a good job of keeping him in the box and letting him step outside the box whenever circumstances call for it.
Just like Khaleesi's Dragons, you got to let a dragon be a dragon. Gio Owens goes far side now, gets the edge, picks up 15, and gets thrown out of bounds. Surprised there's not a penalty flag on that one. That seemed excessive.
Just looking at Jamari's body language here, he knows exactly how off target he is. He knows exactly what he's lacking at. And this isn't the sort of game situation where he needs to step back up and he needs to bounce back from all these off-target throws and off-target reads he's had, because the Bobcats are doing a good job of playing team football, just like we had said a number of times before. The run game was lacking. Jamari Joyner was a little off-target on these passes, but the receivers have been stepping up. The offensive line has been stepping up, and every asset possible. So Jamari Joyner, in all essence, needs to thank the rest of his team. He's the backbone, the concrete anchor of this team. He has been a little lackluster with this performance, but he needs to thank the rest of the team. They did a good job bailing him out of this.
It just seems a little bit off. Not as sharp. His rhythm is off. He hasn't found his rhythm yet tonight. And it's not as if he can't find his rhythm, because we know he can. He has all the ability that you could ever hope for. There's an injured, I don't know if it's a staff or a coach that was down there on the far side, but Gio, 15 yards on the first down, and he was tossed out of bounds. And I think he barreled into one of the coaches or one of the players. He was slow to get up, and now it looks as if everybody appears to be okay on that far sideline.
Thank goodness.
But again, I think a little bit of extracurricular activity there from Tucson, unnecessarily flinging Owens out of bounds. Jamari, one step, fires. There's Trey White on the catch, upended, and a gain of 8 on the play.
Exactly what you need to do to get Jamari Joyner to bounce back in a football game like this. 3-step read, quick read, just a nice little 8-yard curl to Jerry White. That's exactly the kind of stuff you do to get his rhythm back, to get his confidence back.
9 yards on the catch. David Mariscal on the tackle, and literally it was Jamari one step, planting and firing. So if that's what it's going to take to kind of simplify things a little bit to get him back in a rhythm, then I say great. Gio Owens slicing his way to the right side for a gain of 6 and a first down here.
And the Cienega Bobcats are looking a little bit like the Dabo Sweeney Clemson Tigers. Not a single snap has been under center, and that run game has taken the game by storm. The Clemson Tigers had a record in their ACC championship game in 2015. Most rushing yards in an NCAA football game without a single snap under center, and that's exactly what the Cats are doing here.
Handoff goes to Devin Garrett. I think if you look at the Bobcats running core, Dakota Poe graduating last year, he was clearly the number one bread and butter running back. Aaron Sauls as well was very good. And then Jordan, I can't remember Jordan's last name. That trio was very good. This year, we've seen Devin Garrett here tonight, but I think that Gio Owens, number 3, the junior, is their breakaway running back, and I think we'll see him featured next week against South Point. Jamari keeps the ball, goes right, loses maybe 3 or 4 on the play. But the bottom line is that the Bobcats, they have so much speed out there on offense and defensive, both sides of the ball, that they can distribute the ball however they want to, in any way that they want to package it.
And if I'm an NCAA scout and I'm looking at recruiting Jamari Joyner, which a lot of fellas definitely have, a lot of programs definitely have, and you're looking at how his mistakes have carried a lot of a football game. What you're looking at now is how well does he understand his role in the football program that Nugent is taking away and limiting his snaps. How well does he understand his role that he's now just the concrete anchor of this offense?
Jamari now puts on the speed, stays on bounds, touchdown. Oh, he made it look so easy. 19 yards on the touchdown run from Jamari Joyner, who threaded the tightrope near side. It was a quick juke going to the right side. He was under a little bit of duress. He spun out of it as he always does. It was another head and shoulder fake, and then bam to the sideline, and then he had to keep his balance to stay in bounds. How impressive was he? Made it look so easy.
Exactly, and exactly what he has been lacking this entire game. We've put the criticism directly on his shoulders, directly into his chest here, but that play was a great example of how he can be so resilient, like we have given him so much praise for doing. Instead of stepping up in the pocket, rolling out with this trigger-happy mentality and just letting the ball fly, he rolls out, evades every single aspect of the pressure, and instead takes it upfield instead of forcing something outside.
Dennis McMurray's in the house, folks. Bobcat TV, Andrada Poly, an Empire athlete, and a senior. And it was weird because, not weird, but I just thought that a little bit surprising. I thought that Jamari was going to pump and fire. And we've seen him just like cutting it loose tonight. So again, that shows maturity as a player to keep the ball and say, you know what, I can pick up some yards with my legs. PJ Coco on the extra point is good. The Coco is hot, and he's been perfect tonight. 5 for 5 on extra points. But Jamari Joyner, 19 yards on the touchdown run. Very reminiscent of his touchdown against Marana, one of his 7 touchdowns against Marana in week 1 in that thrilling, epic, classic shootout that we saw from Marana High School. So very similar, 19 yards, 20 yards on the run, eluding would-be tacklers, and then flashing off speed in spurts. He has the ability to stop and go, and I think that's a difficult thing for a tackler. If you have somebody who's running at a constant speed, and his speed is fast, but he can also slow it down, change directions, and then pick up again, lickety-split. He's like lightning, and he can just take off any way he wants to. 35-3. 4:10 on the clock here. The wind blowing left to right, slightly breezy. Temperature in the mid to upper 70s here from beautiful Rincon High School as the Badger Band kicks up their drum corps. And the reverberations and the echoes of those bass drums here are going through me. So the run goes here to the 18-yard line from Tucson High. And it was number 2, Seth Molina, the senior, on the return.
Now the Badgers are what you're looking at in a 35-3 in the third quarter, under 5 minutes. What you're looking at now is how well can we put a drive together? How long can we hold on to this football? The Badgers have instilled a running game on this defense. The defense, you can tell by the way they're calling their coverages and their blitzes that they are definitely worried about it. So how well can these Badgers put together a drive and show the Bobcats that they're here to stay? They're not here to run out of the venue with the tail between their legs at a 35-3 route.
Yeah, you got to make some positive things happen here. Pass is nearly intercepted, ricocheted off of the back there. It was in and out of the hands of Luis Morales. Number 15, the backup quarterback, the junior. He knew he had that one, and that pass was errant. So you're asking here a quarterback in Jesus Montano who is not accustomed to throwing the football a lot. And you have to because you're down 32 points on the scoreboard. Tucson High, they went to Buena and won their opener 29-12. Then they beat Mountain Ridge 24-14 in week 2. Handoff goes left side here for a pickup of 3. Then they went to Desert Ridge up in Mesa and they lost 49-0. Then they played South Point Catholic at Keno Stadium and they lost 27-0. Last week at Mountain View they lost 42-20. So we're looking at a team here coming into tonight's game on a 3-game losing streak and definitely trending downward. Shut out twice out of the last 3 games, and they've just edged here a field goal on the scoreboard. So they're having a difficult time here. And then they go to Sunnyside next week, and that's not going to be an easy game. We saw Sunnyside last week at South Point, and they put forth a very game effort. So I think that'll be a good matchup, a classic Tucson matchup. Tucson High going to Sunnyside, and it's just going to get harder for them. They go to Ironwood Ridge after that, then they play Rincon here, and then they play Cibola. And I know nothing about Cibola, but they have a tough road coming ahead of them here. So some difficult navigation for them through the rest of their schedule. And certainly tonight here, it's not going to get any easier. Down 35-3, and they have to punt the football here on a 4th and 5. And conversely, the Bobcats, we know what they've done so far. They went on the road to Marana in week 1 in that shootout, 100 points plus on the board between the two teams. Came back several times to win that game. Fair catch, and I think it was touched there.
And he ran directly into him, staring directly right at him. That's fair catch interference.
So Terrell Huggins there threw his hand up there, waving for the fair catch, and the defender who was there in coverage for Tucson High infringed upon Terrell Huggins' personal space.
And the head coach for the Badgers is trying to fight that, but the only way that is offset is if the defender is pushed into instead of engaged with the fair catch returner. If he is pushed into, if he is obstructed into, that penalty is offset, and it's more or less you just got ran into. It's a dead ball at that point. It's a dead ball once the ball is recovered there, but we could see it all the way from up here, our place here in the bleachers. That he engaged with him, he was staring directly at him. That's fair catch interference.
You have to give the returner the opportunity to receive the punt, and that was not given in that respect. The Bobcats in week 2 came home and beat Shadow Ridge in week 3, and they crushed Shadow Ridge, and then they crushed Nogales. Last week they went to Florham Wells and crushed them, and now here they are at Rincon, and they're laying it on pretty heavily against the Badgers of Tucson High School. Next week on Thursday, we know that is the highly anticipated marquee matchup between South Point Catholic High School, a 4A Southern team, against the Cats, a 5A Southern team. So it's almost as if, and you can correct me here if I'm wrong, almost as if a 4A team with a smaller population is a lighter weight class, to go back to the boxing analogy, and they're going up a little bit in weight. But it's not that big of a weight difference, or not that big of a difference in terms of talent for South Point, because they are laden with talent.
Definitely.
And they're playing the bigger school in Cienega.
Yes. It's
but they're a powerhouse.
It's the Buster Douglas Tyson fight is what that is, definitely. A little bit offset of the weight classes, a little bit offset of the hype on either side of the parties, either side of the teams, but it's definitely going to be an even matchup.
Or Manny Pacquiao moving up in weight classes, holding belts in 5 or 6, 7 weight classes, right? And I've heard rumors, Art, that South Point Catholic has 5 or 6 players, transfers, who will be eligible next week against Cienega to make their debut in 2017. Flare pass goes to the far side, and I don't have a player of 28 on my roster, so I don't know who that is exactly, but the ball was caught. 3rd down and 1.
The unnamed soldier.
Well, the public address announcer from Tucson High is also muted into silence. So Connor Hughes on the reception. Handoff delay goes to Thomas Webb. Webb busts it to the far side, and he will take it to the house for a touchdown. 38 yards and a touchdown for Thomas Webb Jr.
And at this point, like we said last week before, the fat lady up in the opera stage, she's starting to warm up her voice. She's doing her warm-ups, putting the tea in her throat. She's starting to hit her harmonics there here in the dressing room.
Limbering up in the dressing room, in the alcove of the theater. And we've got PJ Coco here getting set for the extra point. Snap is down, the hold is good, and the kick is good. So PJ Coco. And what more can you say here about Brett Holly and his acumen and his expertise as a special teams coach? Every year, the Bobcats bring out a kicker
every single year
who is just money and precise in terms of technique.
Consistent, definitely, outside of the 20-yard range.
Consistent hitting extra points. And maybe they'll miss 1 or 2 over the course of a season. And then also the ability to connect from 40 yards plus, which is a huge advantage for a coaching staff. So PJ Coco connects on the extra point, and the Bobcats now extend their lead to 42-3 with 1:10 on the clock here in the 3rd quarter. Well, this band is relentless. I can say.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff, though. It's part of the ambiance.
It's a lot of drumming. A kickoff goes here, left to right. Fielded by Seth Molina at the 5-yard line. Oh, a big hit there. Great special teams hit in coverage. And that's 28, Connor Hughes.
And it took a little bit of a while. Yeah, it took a little bit of a while, but the Bobcats are starting to get that sort of lean in their walk. They're starting to get that swagger back that they were lacking the entire first half and the entire top half of the third quarter. Happened a little late, but better late than never, definitely.
Good to see Connor, one of my old students, junior English, and it's great to see him getting some plays, but that was like a lightning hit, so he just flew down the field, and he engaged the ball carrier or the returner, and he stopped him dead in his tracks at the 20-yard line. Montano back to throw, the ball fluttered. It's in and out of the hands of Adric Duran.
And you saw it here first, folks. That has been the story of the Badgers' entire offensive campaign that they've run in all three quarters, all three assets of the football game. They have an amazing play call, amazing execution up until the point of catching the football, exchanging the football, missing one or two blocks. It has been a series of missed opportunities by the Badgers here this entire game.
Well, it's an unfortunate series of events here for the Badgers. It's not Lemony Snicket's, and we've got wholesale substitutions coming out here for Cienega.
For a loss of 3 yards.
And
Third down, 13 for the Badgers.
got Juan Patron, who was a junior defensive tackle, and Hunter Schlegel. They're part of that rotation along with Anthony Williams, 45, so they're starters out there. We've got 31, Kenyatta Kendrick out there. Number 30, Logan Williams at corner near side to us. I'll give you more names in a moment. Pass is nearly intercepted. It was deflected by Sergio Torres, in and out of his hands. And then also there in coverage on the rebound was Jacob Acosta, number 35. So a little bit of a pinball effect there. Number 25, Devin Garrett, is out there on defense. We've seen him running the football tonight very efficiently. Number 80, Nathan Marsh, is out there at safety. He is the free safety, the deep or the top safety. And then also number 51, Danny Mendez, another junior out there. So a lot of players here getting some reps here late in the game. And it's good to see them getting some experience under the belts. 4th down and 13. Set to return is Nathan Marsh, and he's standing at the Tucson High 40-yard line. High snap! Over the head.
Safety. Here we go. And that's just as a coaching staff, as a head coach, a coordinator, a positions coach, this is not what you want to see from your kids out here. You've done all this work, all this film study, all these weight reps, all of these laps that you ran in practice as discipline, and just to see your team sort of get thrown around here in the bottom half of the game. The game is on the bottom end. It's on its way out, and these football players definitely need to step their game up. This is a time for learning. It's a time for learning experiences. It's time to see what you actually have in your back pocket. And these kids are letting a safety go. They're dropping footballs, missing blocks. This isn't what you want to see as a coaching staff.
Well, I can give you a visual here. The coaches that are up top here from the catbird seat: Steve Schween, Vinny Mesquite, Jason Jones, and Mr. Forgetti. I don't know Mr. Forgetti's first name. I should know it. He's got the cowboy hat. They all left, so they vacated the premises. They know this game is well in hand. A 41-point margin here as the Cats extend their lead to 44-3 on the high snap. Nothing that Kayshawn Valencia-Crump could do with that one. Here's the kickoff return here, and it was Cienega's Jordan Aldor, number 13 senior, and we'll give him a pickup of 2 on the return. Nice coverage there from the Badger special teams. Ethan White out there as well. Did he have a block or a fumble recovery? He had a fumble recovery earlier tonight. So good to see some of these kids getting some reps out here as well. And the backup quarterback coming out onto the field, it should be Luis Morales, number 15. And Luis has put up some good stats here this season. in limited action. He's 7 for 11 passing, 56 yards, 2 touchdowns. He has a sterling quarterback rating of 115.9. So in the moments that he's gotten, he has taken full advantage, and he would be the leading candidate to be the starting quarterback next year as a senior. We have an injured cat here on the handoff, and that's Gio Owens.
He's stepping up. He's walking on it. He's fine. He just got to nurse an injury there.
Hopefully. Kyle Bowen is right there talking to him. And that brings us to the end of the third quarter. So after 3, it's 44-3. My concern with Gio, and he's down there on the far side, might be a cramp. He's kneeling penitently, as it were, as if he were praying. And now he rolls over onto his back. So it looks like the left calf or the left ankle is the area of concern, as we see Kyle Bowen looking at that foot and ankle area and maybe trying to stretch it a little bit. So I think that's what it was. Probably a cramp there on the left calf, and he's just trying to work it out. Stepping up here now, showing that little sprinter speed. But I wouldn't mind if Gio took a seat for the night. I don't want to see him get injured here.
Yeah, you got to take the horses off the stable.
You need him. He is one of those thoroughbreds, and they absolutely need him next Thursday night against South Point.
And definitely the head coaches staff, they're definitely interested to see what these reserves got in their back pockets here.
Right. Give the kids that don't get a lot of playing time, give them some reps out here.
Last play resulted in a loss of 6 yards for the Bobcats. They'll have it at the 35-yard line, 2nd and 16.
So it's 2nd and 16 here. Luis Morales, the junior, 15 in the pistol. Wicked snap. He fielded it, barely, under a lot of pressure there. Struggles to get close to the line of scrimmage under tremendous pressure from 3 or 4 Badger defenders. And the player who ended up with the tackle was Wyatt Campos, number 16. We've called his name several times tonight. And now it's 3rd and 17. Now, do you let the horse run loose a little bit to continue our equestrian metaphor? Luis Morales, can you let him sling the football here? Let him throw the rock around?
Yeah, you're not looking for these Drew Brees drive routes in a sense, but you're definitely looking at a little bit of little quick reads here and there, a little roll out, 10-yard outs. If you
got a headwind, fires far side. And I think it's incomplete. Tough to see where that ball went.
And as a staff, this is your preseason NFL football on a site. When you're watching Morales roll out just as Jamari did, he was a little late on the read. Right as soon as the receiver put his foot on the ground, went on the break in his route. He took about another 3 or 4 steps, and that's what made it a late route, and he had to force it outside. This is something when you go back in the film room, you're telling your young puppy players, you're letting them know that this is where they can improve their game on. You have this entire rest of the year to practice every single one of these things. This is where you improve it, but this is right where it's here on display for everyone to see.
We have Eli Galvan set to punt here, and Thomas Webb Jr. is back there to block. Galvan gets the punt off to the right side. It'll bounce at the 47-yard line. Take a nice Cienega roll inside the 40 to the 39-yard line. So Eli on the punt. And we'll give him a 28-yard net on that one. So good to see. But I like what Luis Morales did on the 3rd down play. He rolled to his right. He was under a lot of pressure, so he was drifting back and to his right. Not a pure rollout. He had to drift backward, and then he just fired it to the sideline. So it's either going to be completed to one of his receivers, or it's going to be out of bounds.
Definitely
caught out of bounds. You don't want to throw a turnover there and force it up. Handoff goes to the left side, and it's Mario Garcia, the senior tailback, who picks up 2 on the carry. And I think it was Danny Mendez, 51, and Tyree McKinney, number 57, the sophomore. 2nd down and 8. 10:40 on the clock here. The Bobcats have this game well in control, 44-3. Oh, play action. Flare to the right here. Nice pass there.
And I've honestly been waiting for that play the whole game from the Badgers. The flats have been open in the pass game. the little bubble screens instead of these little slip screens that they're running with the running backs. I've been waiting for that play all game. It's a little late, but they ran it to perfection against the reserve defense here by the Cats.
And it looked really nice.
Definitely.
It was a play action, and Montano connecting with Eric Reed. So it's 8 on the play, 3rd and 2.
There have been these 2-on-1 matchups on the receivers and the defensive backs all night long, and here they go. They call it very late in the game.
Wide open formation, screen pass to the right side. The ball is caught, and it will be a gain of 9. Seth Molina on the catch for a first down. The catch and run. Tackled on the play by Cienega's Kenyatta Kendrick, number 31. First down here from Tucson High. Nice to see them moving the football forward. They've got to try to build some momentum here. It's not about tonight's game as much as it is building momentum for next week. They've got to get ready for Sunnyside. At Sunnyside, a hostile, passionate, knowledgeable fan base down there on the south side. And they've got to start stringing some things together here to get ready for next week's game. Put some points on the board here, some touchdowns. Play action, pass in traffic. Oh, a brutal collision there in the center. Devin Garrett laid out the hit. It's close to a first down. There is a penalty marker down on the play. And Devin is slow to get up here.
It definitely led with his head. He saw his feet come off the ground. There was a very, very sloppy technique by Devin Garrett, so he's slow to get up here.
Maybe Jordan Aldor, number 13 as well. So Garrett was there. Aldor was also there, but Devin Garrett was the primary tackler. Kyle Bowen right there. I mean, he is right out there. Football player, tennis player. I think he's 6'4". Does a great job in year 2. So last year he collected 2 championship rings. It does not happen often, right? Both in spring sports with softball and also with boys volleyball. Eric Tatham, the coach of the girls volleyball team, his daughter Stephanie getting married this weekend in Colorado. So I don't think Eric's listening tonight, but E.T., Mrs. Tatham, congratulations. Sending my best out to you guys. And he gave me advice this morning, which brought a tear to my eye. He's like, it goes by so fast, because that's his only child, right? His daughter, and he's like, you spend as much time as you can with your daughter, and I'm like, believe me, I will. So my girl Isla is 5, and so I know it's going to be the whole spectrum of emotions. You can only imagine as a father what it's like to give up your daughter at the altar. It's a very emotional, gut-wrenching time. The positives and the joy and the bliss of that. And it's also a little bit bittersweet because you know that she's always going to be your child, but not your little girl anymore. Handoff of the quarterback here, Montano goes to the right side, picks up 8 on the carry, and the tackle was by Eli Galvan. So big 42 laying down the hit, and also number 34, Francisco Anaya. So Frank Anaya there, combining on the tackle. Good to see Frank out there. Cats are rotating in players frequently now, getting a lot of players some action, a taste of varsity football.
Definitely, the varsity speed is what we're more concerned about.
Right.
Definitely. And the Badgers regretted the first down late here in the spotting of the ball.
Play action, pass to the near side, and the receiver was molested, as it were, by Jordan Aldor. The intended target was 16, Wyatt Campos. Harassed, I guess.
And all these quick-hitting pass games with these one-on-one matchups, with these handicap matchups as we were, this is where we've been, with the play calling as far as the Badgers have been lacking the entire football game. They've been lacking these quick reads. They've been lacking these one-on-one interior matchups. And they've waited all the way until 9:02 in the fourth quarter to wait till something like this happens. That's not necessarily true or false, right or wrong. It's just something that we've been waiting to see this entire football game.
Right. First and 10. Ball's at the 19-yard line, actually. Quarterback keeper, Montano, sheds a would-be tackler, clinging on to his ankle. It was Kenyatta Kendrick who will get credit for that. Danny Mendez also there on the assist. So it's 2nd and 8. Fun fact for you. Jeff Bolnow, who is the cornerbacks coach, also does the statistics for the defense. So he will look at film, and he does all his statistics based on what he has seen in the film. He does not give assists. Very rarely will he give assists. He'll credit the tackler with a tackle, unless 2 guys converge at once. So both get assists. Interception here in traffic, and it's Jacob Acosta. So Jacob, the junior, on the interception.
He might as well have been in a red jersey the way he got that ball.
Yeah, right. Ball was delivered right to him, and he did a great job of clamping onto it. We've seen a couple of opportunities here tonight, and several turnovers from both sides. Jamari was not sharp tonight, but guess what? Jamari Joyner is still Jamari Joyner. So Jamari at like 50% is better than most athletes that have on any given Friday night.
He's still, if you were to type our entire cast here into Microsoft Word, and check the word count, he'd still be one of the most mentioned names in this entire cast.
Right, check this out. So 4 touchdowns tonight, 2 passing, both of them to Terrell Hayward, both of them at 33 yards. He almost had a 35-yard touchdown pass to Rodney Rogers. We've got to look at the film of that to really see if that was a touchdown or if Rodney was out of bounds. And then Jamari with 2 touchdowns running, 2 yards and 19 yards. So 4 touchdowns total. He had the 2 interceptions, but he still put 4 touchdowns on the board.
Definitely, and like Coach Nugent had said, like we had mentioned as well, football is such a team sport, the greatest team sport you'll ever see. It's not so much just hand the ball to LeBron James. It's not so much wait for David Ortiz to come up in the batter's box. You have to rely on every single aspect of the football game. There's 11 players with 11 different jobs. And while one player has lacked, the other have excelled. Great job, great team football by the Cats.
Well, I can't wait tomorrow morning. I have a fun Saturday, Super Saturday planned. What's on tap? Well, a 7 o'clock wake up, and usually it's 5 o'clock or 5:30. But I'll wake up at 7, hopefully, sleeping in, and then I'll drive down to Cienega, and I'm going to be a fly on the wall in that film session tomorrow. The players call it a roast session. They get scrutinized, and the coaches will critique and look at every aspect of the previous night's film. So we're going to look at tonight's film tomorrow morning, and I'm just going to be there with a notepad and a pen, my blue Sharpie fine point marker as always, jotting down notes and watching what these coaches see and what they're saying to the players. Looking very much forward to that tomorrow. And of course the Thursday matchup, which is huge, and it's going to be on television. So Comcast Channel 13, on Dish Channel 14, and on Cox Channel 61. It's not available on the DirecTV network. So Azteca will be broadcasting the game on Thursday night starting at 7 o'clock with Southern Arizona Video Productions and Harry Findus, that is his company. And I am so looking forward to this. We'll have instant replay, and we're going to have 5 cameras, 3 up on top, 2 down on the field.
Boy, that's firepower right there.
We'll have interviews with coaches coming out of the locker room going into the second half. So we'll have both coaches, Dennis Benet and Pat Nugent, pre-game reports, post-game interviews, play-by-play, instant replay. Art Mata, you and I will be there on Thursday, and I cannot wait for Thursday night football.
That's a Merry Christmas to all of us here at Bobcat TV. That's a holiday weekend for us.
It is for me, certainly. And it's speaking of holidays, so Happy New Year, Rosh Hashanah, to all of our Jewish friends out there. That's why I think last week we had a game on Thursday night, or I guess it's tomorrow. So tomorrow is Rosh Hashanah, and then next week it'll be Yom Kippur. That's why we're playing on Thursday night, a very serious holiday in the Jewish faith and Judaism. So they're playing on Thursday instead of Friday because Friday and Saturday is Yom Kippur. So it's a very somber, serious. I think it's a atonement. It's a introspection and very solemn and serious holiday. So Rosh Hashanah, Happy New Year, good times. Yom Kippur, very serious holiday. So we're seeing both ends of the spectrum here in Judaism in a 2-week period of time. So I just want to throw my shout out there to all of my Jewish friends that are out there listening. And we've got 6:08 on the clock here, 44-3. Bobcats punting, Eli Galvan back there. And what's the gunner position? Is that the right term there for Thomas Webb? He's the gunner position. There to block and pick up any stray defenders coming in to try to block that punt. High punt, takes a bounce back here and is downed by Ethan White. So Ethan, I'm able to call his name twice here tonight. Number 12. And for Galvan, it will be an 18-yard punt net. So he's not helping his punting statistic averages out. But he did do a nice job out here as a fullback.
Yeah, definitely.
And in particular, he sprung Jamari for a 2-yard touchdown run late in the second quarter, which made it 21-3. 5:46 on the clock here. Badgers now have subbed out, and they have a new quarterback out there. And here's Love on the carry. A big collision there, tackled by number 28, Connor Hughes. So Connor with 3 tackles tonight. He has 2 on special teams and 1 here now on defense. Does the senior number 28. Number 83 is at quarterback. That's Duran Carlos. And he's a sophomore. And then number 9, Mario Garcia, the senior tailback on the carry.
Mario Garcia.
5:20 on the clock in the 520 area code. Cats on top 44-3. Nick Lear's the MVP tonight. So Nick Lear's new to Bobcat TV. Nick Lear brought his computer out here tonight.
He's the most valuable player, he's the MVH, most powerful human.
Junior.
Most valuable human there.
He brought his laptop. I didn't leave. I didn't forget my laptop. I made a decision to leave my laptop in my classroom, and I stashed it into my desk. I was like, I don't need to bring my laptop tonight. Oh yeah, I do. How are we going to stream audio live? Last week at South Point, we knew we couldn't stream audio live. We didn't have the capability of doing so. Tonight, I was just puzzled, and I confused myself. So Nick Lear, MVP tonight for being our technical director here and bringing this beautiful machine, his laptop. It is, I don't know, slate black or
matte black.
Yeah, matte black. Matte black. Exactly. So you are the key tonight, Nick, and I'm glad to have you in Bobcat TV. And you drove Chloe Olsen, and Bella Cousins, 2 of our sideline reporters, up here tonight. Chloe had to do her makeup tonight, Art. She couldn't ride in the van with us because she had no access to mirrors. So I said, that's fine. So Nick was driving, she was doing makeup, and I'm guessing that Bella was in the back seat, being a backseat driver. Handoff goes right side here, very close to the goal line.
This is the closest they've been all game.
Gary Love, the closest. They can smell it, they can see it. I can almost taste it. And we're looking at here a 3rd and goal for the 1. Well, Tucson High has some mass on that offensive front. A pair of 300-pounders, 1 player who's 280. And the Cats here will see if they can dig in their heels, some trench warfare. Handoff goes, and there's Love, Gary Love for the touchdown.
That's the first touchdown by Tucson High in a sum of about 60, 70 plays that have been ran in the past 2 or 3 games.
Right, so they've scored precious few points. They had a field goal for much of the game here tonight. 20 points last week. In the previous 2 weeks, in weeks 3 and 4, 0 and 0. So important for them to put some touchdowns on the scoreboard. And with 3:35 here, the extra point. But not only is it up and good, but it's drilled way back to the track by Mark Vargas. So Vargas showing off his leg strength. He also has a 38-yard field goal. And then before the half, he had a field goal that was tipped at the line of scrimmage, I think by Carter Clark.
Yeah, and the ball was nearly live. It barely went dead right before it went into the end zone.
So Tucson High here, 44-10, getting a touchdown. And again, I don't think I can overstate this enough, how important it is for them to get touchdowns and then put some positive things together here late in the 4th quarter.
Especially with their reserve offensive line, their reserve running backs, their reserve quarterback even. They were the first group of kids to put some points here on the board next to the field goal. Great job by them. This is what you want to see as a coaching staff.
Bobcat TV crew out here tonight. Caitlin Matisco, Joy Paul, Jillian Summers down on the field as a reporter, Chloe Olsen, Jacob Greenberg, and Bella Cousins on the field as reporters, Art Mata on color commentary, Jason Miller on play-by-play, and Nick Lear, our white knight tonight at Rincon University High. The Rincon Rangers, I took a photograph earlier tonight in the parking lot. They have an ancient fire truck. It appears to be from the 1930s. And I have some friends who are alumni of Rincon, Tim Emery being one of them, one of the greats of the graduates. He's got a championship ring from his days working for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And then my lovely wife, Enadina Sanchez Miller, who is a an alum of the class of 1997 or 8.
My father graduated in 97. They're the same age.
So 97. Did he graduate here from Rincon also?
No, he graduated from Safford.
Oh, okay. So they didn't know each other from high school days.
Yeah, something like that. Listen to the same music.
Very nice. But a great campus here. And I want to thank Rincon University High and Dave LePeau, the athletic director, for all of his hospitality, and the whole crew out here at Rincon. And then also Bobby DeBerry from Tucson High for accommodating us as well, because we're Bobcat TV, and we're a little bit inconvenient when we go to opposition's houses to do broadcasting. We're asking for favors, and all we really need is a little plot of territory up high in the grandstand or the bleachers. And tonight we're located adjacent to the band here from Tucson High that has been loud and proud. They've played very well. That drum line has been echoing through my body. Tonight when I lie down to go to sleep, I might still feel it, almost as if you're in the ocean all day long.
That's what I was thinking.
You still feel the waves undulating through your body. I may feel the vibrations and the rhythms and the echoes of this major drum line going through me tonight. I don't know. Either that or Lucky Wishbone.
One of the two. Either way, it's a win-win.
It is a win-win. 2:55 on the clock. The Cats have their backup quarterback out there, Luis Morales. And Morales has shown in limited action and snaps here tonight. But you never know when you're going to need that backup quarterback to come in, and it could be at a big moment.
Any moment of the game. It could first, second, third, fourth quarter, overtime at the very least. This is definitely something that he's prepared for. This is his Aaron Rodgers moment. Sat back. He studied more film than anybody on the offensive side of the ball, on the reserve side of the ball. So this is definitely just a time for him to put on display to the staff, to his position coach, exactly how hard he's been working. And for the most part, he's looked pretty mature. He's looked pretty poised. He's definitely got the moxie of a Cienega quarterback.
A long list of great quarterbacks at Cienega High School. I'm going to try to go down my line here of quarterbacks in no particular order. I'm going to go back as far as I can remember. Seth Mejias-Breen, who won a national championship as a baseball player, a third baseman at the University of Arizona. And then you have Jordan Mills. Jordan Mills. You got Michael Archie, Adriel Alvarado. Oh, fumble here. Great effort. We'll see who comes up with the football. And Tucson High on the recovery. I think it was number 12, Daniel Salomon. And I missed the player. I think it was 22 from Cienega, Emmanuel Jimenez, that fumbled it. And if I'm wrong, or actually 13, Jordan Aldo. And if I'm mismatching you, I apologize. A bit of a frenetic scrum down there near side. And I don't know if have I forgotten any of the quarterbacks at Cienega? Did I go through the list of the most recent ones that we've got?
Definitely the most prevalent ones. Even in the record book and the program that we got in front of us, he definitely hit all the nails there.
This Adriel Alvarado was a 3-year starter. Michael Archie was a 1-year starter. Jordan Mills, I think, was a 3-year starter. And Seth Mejias-Breen, I think, was a 2-year starter. And Jamari Joyner is a 2-year starter. I think we've covered the last 2, 5, 6, 7,
10 years, I think.
8, 9, 10 years of looking at the program. So if I'm remiss, if I've missed anybody, I'm going to throw apologies back out there. There's so many great alumni, athletes, student athletes, and alum of Cienega that really flourished in their time at Cienega as signal callers. And it's quite a lineage. It's a very rich pedigree of quarterbacks, fostered by Niemer Hasse, a former quarterback himself at Saguaro, and then a great coach at Saguaro and a great coach at Cienega, and then now under Pat Nugent, who has had just the gift of Jamari Joyner, number 11, and all that he brings to a program. And Pat has coached and been so successful everywhere he's been, and he considers Jamari Joyner to be the most athletic player, not just quarterback, but most athletic player of anyone that he's coached, and that includes Kadeem Carey, who we know is in the NFL.
That's also the Blake Martinez, his linebacker.
So Mike Martinez, NFL player too, CDO alum. Barreling toward the end zone here is number 30. That's David Lopez. Tackle on the play by Connor Hughes. And also Cienega's 34, Frank Anaya. So 2:30, Tucson High ratcheting up their intensity. They're not quitting here tonight.
At the very least, just trying to make it look closer than it was.
And they've been doing it here with a sophomore quarterback. They've also been doing it against Cienega's reserve defenders as Mario Garcia gets the handoff.
Mario Garcia.
The sophomore, number 83, Geron Carlos, 5'10", 165, out there at quarterback. That's not a number you see very often at quarterback.
Yeah, it looks like he's in a
83.
He's their athlete quarterback. I'm surprised the referees haven't made him change his jersey. And he squeezed that one in.
Touchdown.
Touchdown by the sophomore number 83 quarterback we were just talking about.
Number 83, Geron Carlos. 3-yard touchdown run. I just remember that third wide receiver from the Washington Redskins from their 80s Super Bowl haymaking teams. Gary Clark was 84. Ricky Sanders was 83. And Art Monk was 81. And I think that Geron Carlos is number 83, kind of like triggered by memory somehow. Suppressed to memory. When you get older, like these memories will come back like tomorrow. You're trying to think of something tonight, and then tomorrow at like 2 p.m. it just click. Oh, it was this I was looking for. So the extra point here is good by Mark Vargas, and the deficit now is 27 points. So with 1:43 on the clock, it's Cienega 44 and Tucson High 17. You got the, I think the band director here yelling up to his charges to get up and
Trying to
make
keep the
noise.
energy up here in the stands and the bleachers.
All these players in the band are wearing their bibs, their ski bibs. They've got like overalls basically.
Yeah.
I don't think they're quite like ski appropriate. It's not like Arctic down material.
I'm sure there's a layman's term. Some band geeks on the caster losing their mind over it right now.
That's absolutely just going berserk.
Yeah.
No, you idiots. Stop talking and just listen.
Talk about the football game. Don't
Just
talk about the band.
let the clock run out.
Yeah.
I want to thank you, listeners out there,
20-yard line, first and 10.
the score plus of you that are out there listening to the broadcast, and want to thank you for your patience. Of course, if anytime we can do video, we'll do video. Usually when we go on the road, we don't have the technical capabilities to stream all the bits and the bytes of the video that we need to send out there. So we're running off of a little mobile hotspot that's 10 years old, and quite frankly, it's antiquated. Well, we should upgrade our mobile hotspot, and then usually we need to be able to plug in with Ethernet capability. We've got 19 here on the carry. That's Javon Walker, the senior, number 19, getting a carry. So he'll get in the stat sheet. And then anytime we can, the only places that I know in Tucson are Tucson High and Sunnyside. Those two locations, and Cienega down in Vail, those are the three locations that have Ethernet connectivity that I know of, at least for football. So Rincon has a beautiful grass surface here, but they don't have the Ethernet connectivity that we would need in order to stream video along with the audio. So we're simulcasting, as it were. We record the video. We'll upload that on Monday onto our YouTube channel on Bobcat TV. And at the same time, concurrently, we're running the audio out through Mixler, our audio streaming platform. So thanks for tuning in. I know it's not ideal, but at least audio is better than nothing.
Definitely. Shows all the loyal fans how quickly the Bobcat fan base can travel, even through the internet.
And they are connected, and the injured player that's down on the field is Javon Walker. So Javon got the carry, and he's walking gingerly off of that. Is it the left foot?
Javon Walker. Player.
Left foot is looking like.
He's hobbling off the left foot. The right foot is suspended. So looks like he's kind of like hopping off here with some assistance by team doctor Dr. Tyan Dean, and then also the head trainer Kyle Bowen. The Cats have such an impressive assemblage of talent.
All the way down to the reserves.
In all areas. I mean, I'm talking about the medical staff and the training staff and the kids that are the medical staff and the trainers and the managers, all those student athletes that are all involved in this program. It's quite the army that they have that are covering kind of every aspect potentially of football and preparation, health and well-being and wellness. Like every aspect is covered. It's quite the contingent. We're part of that too as Bobcat TV.
Yeah, definitely.
We're the pilot fish that is swimming over and around the shark in the water. 45 seconds here on the clock. The Cats up 44-17.
Punt down by number 65 for Tucson.
Number 9, Connor Hawley out there on the field, the senior, near side at wide receiver. Morales looking to throw. Ball is caught at the 50-yard line. Off and running. It's Kevon Waples. So Kevon Waples, 80 yards on the catch and run from Luis Morales. Can you fault Cienega here? It wasn't like they were going for broke. It wasn't a Hail Mary.
Definitely.
They were looking at a 20-yard pass pattern to move the chains forward, and the kid just made a nice catch, Kevon Waples, the younger brother of Natasha Waples, with a catch and run. So it's an 80-yard touchdown when it's all said and done, but it's not like the Cats are trying to run up the score deliberately here.
Of course, that's exactly what I was trying to hint at here. The Cats aren't necessarily running up the score. Mr. Nugent's just out here running his offense. He's out here grinding the gears. He's out here cranking the wheel. Doing what an offensive play caller does, and that's putting points up on the board. He's not at fault here in any way.
There could be a little bit of a natural response here. Tucson High put up back-to-back touchdowns here to narrow the deficit, and it's, you're not going to take like so many punches before you start swinging back a little bit. I don't think they had the intention of putting points on the board. It just broke that way. PJ Coco, the extra point. And it's 51-17 now with 22 ticks of the clock. Well, stay tuned for interviews. We'll have the interviews coming down on the field. Our cadre of reporters, Jillian Summers, Jacob Greenberg, Chloe Olson, and Bella Cousins will all be down on the field interviewing Cat players. They flashed on the phone to me like whom they were going to be speaking to. And of course, I've forgotten already. So after that, though, I'd love for them to talk to Kevon Waples and Luis Morales. But they'll probably talk to Jamari Joyner. They'll probably talk to Terrell Hayward. And they may find a player on defense and one of the coaches on the staff to talk to. So stay tuned for those. We'll be looking forward to those interviews coming up shortly after the game is over and probably after the players have been spoken to by Coach Pat Nugent. But if you're Pat Nugent, you've got to be pleased here with what they saw in the second half.
Yeah, definitely. It's exactly how we pictured this entire contest to go down. Great team football, great team effort where the team lacked, the opposite spectrum exceeded. The offense couldn't get the ground rolling. The defense held the opposing offense right in their place. This is all around team football. The yin and yang are at balance here.
Ethan White on the tackle for the Cats. And the return, it was number 81. That's Joe Barajas, the senior. And I think when the Cats look at film session tomorrow, certainly they have many things that they can point out that need to be tightened up.
Definitely.
But I think overall, you have to be happy with the effort and the grit that the Cats have shown here tonight, because it wasn't pretty and it wasn't clean. But still, when you look at it, you're still on top 51-17, and you come away with a victory.
A win's a win.
All wins are difficult.
Definitely. You're definitely the defense, the offense, they definitely have, like you said, they have a lot of bolts to tighten here. They definitely had a lot of holes here in their offense and in the defense that the South Point Catholic Lancers are definitely, for sure, going to see here in the film room.
Oh, yeah. They've got all of their film people scrutinizing the film. Eli Galvan on the tackle, Gary Love on the carry, 9 yards and a first down, and that brings us to the end of the game. So your final score of the Bobcats of Cienega High School improved to 5-0 with a 51. Oh, that was a breast handshake. Did you see that? Yeah. Did I read that wrong?
I saw it from up here. I read it just like you did.
Justin Hargraves, it was more of a shiv with the right shoulder and the right elbow to Pat Nugent than it was a handshake. So Hargraves, I think, is upset and probably upset about that last touchdown. I may have misread that and I may have seen something that was not there, but that's what it appeared like from here. And Pat's pretty cool customer, so he's kind of like pushing that one off, and he's flanked by a phalanx of coaches there on the staff. He's a pretty solid guy too. Not somebody to mess with.
Worried about that.
Well, to the end, the Badger Band of Tucson High School is jamming out here. The boom of the drum echoing and reverberating through my insides like the drums deep in the mines of Moria. Boom, boom, boom. Just thundering through here, cavernous and echoing through. Where's Gandalf when you need him? So final score here, 51-17. And we'll be looking forward here with great anticipation to the interviews that are coming post-game. Another reminder, next Thursday, on the 28th of September, it is the match of the year. South Point Catholic High School, the Lancers, the 4A Southern, are traveling to Vail to take on the Cats. Both teams undefeated. Both teams will be a perfect 5-0 next Thursday night. That game is at 7 o'clock on television on Azteca, Channel 13 on Comcast, it's Comcastic, Channel 14 on Dish, and Channel 61 on Cox. And we'll be there at 7 o'clock. Art Mata, you and I will be there with the play-by-play and color commentary. Excited for that.
That's our holiday weekend right there. That's a Christmas morning, open it up, and there's just nothing but brand new toys right under the tree. That's us right there.
Wow, extracting every bit of musicality out of this Badger marching band to the very end. And we've heard that song, well, everywhere really, but that to me was their best number, their best performance of a night filled with them. So a strong core. I know their band director. He's a friend of a friend. And I of course, I don't know his name off the top of my head, but a very likable fellow. And he does a great job with that Badger band. So you just wish that Tucson High, I have no idea what the state or condition of their field is, but I believe that their season and their field was washed out from those torrential rains that we had during the heavy monsoon rains of July. And we're always so thankful for rain, and it's always such a scarce, especially here in the desert, such a scarce resource. How can we harvest rainfall? There's got to be infrastructure built into the city here in Tucson to be able to take all of that water, because when it rains it pours, and the washes are overrun and overflowing, and all that water is wasted, kind of like thrown out to mesquites and cacti out in the desert, and it doesn't really benefit anybody. There's got to be a way, and I know that the University of Arizona and their water department, for lack of a better word, anybody who's studying like water
engineering,
land resources,
agriculture, manufacturing of some sort.
There's got to be something that can be done. Don't unplug our power. Okay, give us a couple minutes. Okay, we're talking to the managers here. They're antsy, like they want to start unplugging everything. I'm like, don't unplug our power. I didn't say that very nicely. Sometimes you have to be assertive and direct.
She understood.
There's no room for error here. So we see Terrell Hayward across the field. We also see Jamari Joyner, the Jet, I also call him
the Jet. Is that what we got
That's
here?
my nickname. I also call him Supersonic.
Okay.
Okay.
The Jet. Jamari the Jet.
This is an 80s song here, and there was a group called JJ Fad. So you have Jamari Joyner,
Of course,
JJ.
I know who JJ Fad
And JJ
is.
Fad sang Supersonic. So for me, Jamari Joyner is Supersonic. Terrell Hayward, for lack of a better nickname, is Tay Hay, or the Tay Hay Kid, riffing off of Willie Mays' nickname, the Say Hay Kid.
Yeah.
He's so great that those are two nicknames here. And we're going to go down to the field. Looks like that Jacob Greenberg has Hunter Schlegel.
All right, I'm here with lineman Hunter Schlegel, the freshman. He had the interception in the second quarter that led to the Rodney Rogers touchdown. Take me through that play, Hunter.
You know, they always kept saying, like, read the screen. So he shut it off and I read the screen, and then he threw the ball. So he straight up, I saw it, I read it, and he tipped it, so I hit him, and then I caught it. And then I tried to take the touchdown, but then I tripped over him, and that's mostly it.
You've made such an impact on the line coming into the team as a freshman. How's been the start of your high school football?
You know, I've loved it. It's been pretty good. I've enjoyed it. I got great coaches, Shween and Fontana, teaching me the basics, everything I need to know. I'm so glad I'm going to have them for 4 more years.
Good luck at the South Point game. Thank you, Hunter.
All right, very good. Jacob Greenberg, I love that. I love that he's getting a defensive lineman. Right?
Yeah, great
So he
job.
picks the freshman, Hunter Schlegel,
Easier for onto the table.
son of Jeff Schlegel, one of the coaches on the staff, younger brother of Ty Schlegel, a great, all-time great defensive end for the Bobcats. And it's great to see a freshman getting some coverage and some playing time. You can see down on the field, I would imagine that local television and local news media, they have Terrell Hayward and also Jamari Joyner. Like, they're always magnets for attention. So good job there from Jacob to snag Hunter, who had an interception, a big play here tonight. You could talk to Rodney Rogers, too. He sprang off a 30-yard touchdown run earlier tonight.
The would-be 35 touchdown catch.
Right, so nearly 2 touchdowns for Rodney, and I'll be looking forward tomorrow to see if that was a catch or not. And the players that are down on the field and the coaches that are down by the 20-yard line on the opposite corner would have a much better vantage point than we do. Like, we have maybe one of the worst views.
Yeah.
Far opposite corner.
About 300 feet from the play.
Yeah, almost 100 yards distant from where we are up here in the top row of the bleachers, across the corner looking at the far pylon to the left, on the upper left corner. So very interesting now. And here we're going to have Bella Cousins here. She'll be momentarily with us, along with Terrell Hayward. They're getting close here. They're in range. They're trying to triangulate our signal.
Stay on target.
Yes, stay on target. Look at the size of that thing. Cut the chatter, Red 6.
All right, I'm here with Terrell Hayward, and you just played with Tucson High, and you made the first touchdown of the game to spice it up. How did that feel?
You know, it felt good. You know, my offensive night didn't go too well. I had a couple, miscues, but you know what? I got the ball and did what I do with it. You know, when I get some heads, I get in space. You know, that's what I do. So I felt real good after that. The whole team was getting pumped up and stuff.
That's good. That's good. How did it feel to play on this kind of turf? It's different from, well, this is real grass, and our field is obviously turf. How did that feel?
Yeah, it was definitely different, man. Like when we come out here in the turf, you know, it's all like smoothed out, but this kind of had some lumps in it, so it was definitely an adjustment you had to make. Just adjust to it, and we get it going.
And are you ready for South Point next week? How do you feel about that?
No, that's a big game coming up. I'm ready. I'm gonna start it tomorrow from the film room all the way to the game. No messing around. Just get mentally prepared and physically prepared for that game.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Terrell. You did great out there. And next interview.
All right, very good. We're going to wait for a couple of moments here. Great questions there. Bella Cousins, the sophomore, the intrepid reporter down in the field. And now she's going to hand off, almost as if she's a track runner here. And Jillian Summers now right at midfield here with Supersonic Jamari Joyner. Here comes Rodney Rogers. Why not, Rodney? Get in on the mix here in this interview here. And we'll go down to Jillian Summers down in the field.
Thanks, guys. I'm down here with number 11, Jamari Joyner, star quarterback for the Cienega Bobcats. So, Jamari, you had a great game tonight. We've seen you have great runs, great passes, and just an outstanding game like you always do. How do you feel that your performance could have been any better tonight?
I feel like today my performance could have been better by not throwing those 2 picks. I made 2 bad reads. I made those reads cost us 2 turnovers. So today I think I could have read the field better and just been a better passer today.
Okay. And did you feel a difference playing on this grass field rather than the Cienega turf that we all know and love? It's obviously a different feel. It's more watered. It's more slippery. How did that affect your playing game today?
This field is most definitely the bumpiest field I ever played on. Like every step was a bump. So you probably see it from the camera, from everything like that. This is a bumpy field. So it's just a lot of dips and stuff on the field. So it's different field.
Okay. And lastly, what is the biggest thing you want to mentally prepare your team for against the game against South Point next week?
Pretty much just relax. Like everything's gonna come to us if we play our game. So if anything bad happens in the game, we gotta relax mentally and just try not to do too much. Like tonight, I tried to do too much and it costed us. And I just need to prepare my team prepare to be down, prepare to be in a disadvantage, prepare for anything, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. You have to just prepare for the little things and just prepare.
Thank you so much, Jamari. Great game tonight. We can't wait to see you next week. Thank you guys so much. Stay tuned, and we will have a report from Coach Pat Nugent next. Thank you guys very much.
Oh my gosh, I'm just loving these interviews tonight.
Fantastic.
What insight here we're getting. And I love that Jamari is saying, hey, we need to relax. So the playing surface, and I love those questions about the grass, the playing surface is uneven. It's a metaphor for his game tonight. Uneven, but guess what? He still had 4 touchdowns, 2 passing, 2 running, 33 yards both passing to Terrell Hayward, and then a 19-yard touchdown running and a 2-yard touchdown running. And we're going to go down on the field here to Chloe Olson, who is right there at the 50-yard line with Victoria's head coach, Pat Nugent.
All right, we're here with Cienega's head coach, Pat Nugent. How do you feel about your team's performance tonight?
Well, it was, we're 5-0. That's the most important part right now. We came out a little sluggish. Jamari had a not usual night for him. Threw 2 interceptions in that first half. But our defense just played great football today. And, to go in 21, we knew we'd come out of our, Jamari funk a little bit. Had some quick scores there. And, we got what we thought we'd have tonight, a big win. And we're excited about next week.
And as a team, what do you guys feel like you need to work on?
Every day is an improvement day. Our offensive line, we started 2 sophomores tonight, so our offensive line's got to get better. Like I said, Jamari made a couple of big mistakes tonight. We've got to eliminate that. We've got to be perfect next week against South Point, so just getting better each day of practice.
And how do you feel going into the game against South Point? Do you guys feel confident?
Oh, yeah. We played really well against them last year. We've got athletes. We've got tremendous football players. South Point's really good, but we still think they're the second best in Tucson, and we're the best. And it's going to be a great night in Vail, and we'll have a packed house, and it'll be really exciting.
All right, great game. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Wow. I can't be happier with the job that those 4 reporters did out on the field.
Of course.
We also have Dennis McMurray. I don't know if you get a shot of Dennis down there, who is still Bobcat TV. He attends Andrada Poly High School, but Dennis McMurray is still an active member in Bobcat TV. So Dennis down there for moral support. Jacob Greenberg, Jillian Summers, Chloe Olson, Bella Cousins. Fantastic interviews tonight. Talk about Pat Nugent and what he said there. What did you take from what he said there?
I think exactly. He's a state winner. He's a state runner-up. He's a state contender, a junior college competitor. That's exactly what you'd expect. He's competed at the highest level. He's seen the highest level of athlete, of coaching staff, of every aspect of football. So he knows exactly what it takes to win a heavyweight bout like this. And of course, he'd be feeling pretty confident about it. He sees exactly what he needs to in a team. I couldn't agree with him more.
I like it. I like the confidence. It's not. It's a fine line between confidence and overconfidence or arrogance or cockiness, however you want to phrase it. But I think he's very confident. He knows exactly what he has in this team, and personnel-wise, he knows he can match up with any team here in Tucson. He thinks they're the best team in Tucson, and he thinks that South Point is the second best team in Tucson, and Ironwood Ridge is in that mix too. So I'm sure if they're watching or listening, that they've got something to say about it. But we'll find out on Thursday night. It's pregame. It's hype. It's trying to instill confidence in all of your charges and all of your coaching staff. You have to believe, and I truly believe that he thinks he has the best team here in Tucson. There's only one way to find it out. You put on the gloves,
let's see.
ding, and you enter the ring on Thursday night down in Vail, and it's go for it. Let's see what happens on Thursday night. I also like Jamari Joyner saying that, what's the biggest thing for you, Jamari? Number one, he made 2 misreads on 2 interceptions. Very uncharacteristic, right? He's a pretty much mistake-free quarterback who always dazzles athletically. But he owned up to his own mistakes and shortcomings, things that he has to make up for and tighten up. But he also says we have to relax. And I like that idea and that philosophy for a player. You can't play well if you're tight. You can't play well if you're anxious. You've got to relax and trust yourself, your natural ability, and everyone does the responsibility. Everybody does their own job.
Definitely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Great job, Jamari.
All right, I'm going to do a quick scoring recap here tonight. It was Terrell Hayward, 33 yards from Jamari Joyner. P.J. Coco's extra point made it 7-0. Then Mark Vargas from Tucson High narrowed the deficit to 7-3. It was the closest it was at that point. A 38-yard field goal by Vargas. Rodney Rogers, a 30-yard touchdown run. P.J. Coco's extra point made it 14-3. Jamari, his first touchdown run, it was 2 yards on a great block sprung by Eli Galvan on the left side of that line. Coco's extra point made it 21-3. And then it was Terrell Hayward on a 33-yard touchdown catch, a catch and run, dazzling, as it were, from right to left. Coco's extra point made it 28-3. Jamari Joyner on a spectacular 19-yard touchdown run on a broken play, a bootleg, and Coco's extra point made it 35-3. Thomas Webb Jr., a 38-yard touchdown run, making it 42-3. And then it was a safety on a high snap, making it 44-3. Tucson High had back-to-back touchdowns. Gary Love, a 1-yard touchdown run. Jerron Carlos, a 3-yard touchdown run. Both extra points converted by Mark Vargas, making it 44-17. And then Kevon Waples, an 80-yard catch and run from Luis Morales, making it 51-17 after P.J. Coco's extra point. So Hayward, 2 33-yard touchdown catches, 1 a catch and run. The second one was a spectacular, dazzling leap and catch where he adjusted his body on the fly, caught the ball, the defender was clueless and lost, and then Hayward scampered in. So I liked his approach tonight as well. A lot of talent out there. And for the whole crew, unless you have anything else you want to chime in here at the last moments before we end up this broadcast.
I'm good. Great job, everybody.
So we'll see you on Thursday, and I couldn't agree more. These reporters did a great job here tonight. So for the whole crew, Jillian Summers down on the field as a reporter, Caitlin Matisco, and Joy Paul, the directors and the camera operators tonight, Art Mata, color commentary, Jacob Greenberg down on the field reporting, Chloe Olson reporting, Bella Cousins reporting, Nick Lear, the White Knight here, King Lear tonight, bringing the laptop here and getting our whole technical operations running, and Dennis McMurray, Dennis Dominus 4, I think that's his hander, 05, Dennis McMurray 5. Twitter, is that is that what I'm going for? Instagram? I don't even know. So for the whole crew, I want to thank you, and tune in on Thursday night. Find that game on television, and then also we'll be streaming it live on our media platforms, and we'll also have a broadcast, a webcast for everybody who's out there. I want to throw a shout out to our men and women serving in the armed services, both here and also abroad, overseas. Stay safe out there. Thank you for your service. For the whole crew, thanks for tuning into Bobcat TV. Cats on top, 51-17. Good night, everybody.